everybody would please stand for the pledge. Our flag is up here in the corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you all for coming out. Good year to everybody. Happy New Year. Okay, we have a couple of things we're going to slide in the agenda because we have some people who have to leave early, and so we're going to do a couple of little adjustments. So the first thing we want to do is have a motion to approve the minutes. So moved. Second. All in favor? Okay. All right, a couple of things before we get started, just as a reminder. When everybody starts talking at the same time, it gets disruptive enough that nobody can hear what anybody is saying. So please, folks, one at a time. I'm happy to report that my timekeeper is back here. Ralph is back with us tonight. Other than our guest speakers, I'm asking everybody to please keep the presentations to 10 minutes. And Ralph will let you know when it's time. Okay? The other thing I'm going to ask is, please let the people that are doing their presentations finish their presentations before you start interrupting with questions. 2 reasons. Number one, it holds up them finishing the presentation. A lot of times they get off track and they don't answer what we're asking because they've gone on to another tangent. So let them finish their presentation, and then I'm sure that they will be more than willing to answer questions for us. Okay? All right, I do not see a deputy. I don't know if we have a sheriff or is there a deputy?
There's one. Different hat.
There were multiple people pulled over on the highway.
Okay, so we're gonna let that like deputy happen to come in, and we'll go ahead with that, so. Okay, so before we get on to our main speakers, Aaron Penman asked if he could get up first, because as a deputy, he's gotta go home and get a little cat nap so he can come back and work tonight.
I prefer it, but it's up to you.
Does a 10-minute start from when I start walking? Or?
Right now, you're on the clock.
Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. Aaron Penman, council member for District B. I just want to walk through a couple things. I know Councilman Guthrie will highlight some of these as well, so I won't try to go over them too long. But one of them is the hotel occupancy tax revenue, Bill 2334. Angela, Eric, and Dion are here. They're going to kind of hit that pretty well probably. But that bill is coming up for, would have been tomorrow, but now it's going to be next Tuesday because of the impending weather coming in. So we look forward to that passing. There is also Bill 2337. It's a habitat protection area bill, environmental bill. There's a lot to that bill about protection of different species. So, I'm trying to get back to subject matter experts to kind of learn the intricacies of that bill. Sorry if I said that wrong. So that's coming up. We have a public hearing on the 16th of January at 6:45 in the council chambers. A bill that was introduced last Tuesday, Bill 24001, the first one of 2024, is the accessory dwelling unit. It'll be a zoning change. Basically what that is, it allows you to have a piece of property and have an accessory dwelling unit. Something, example would be an apartment over top of your garage. Currently on county code, you're permitted to do it, but the only people that can occupy that dwelling is family members. I want to expand that to outside of the family. One, here's some advantages of it. Caregivers, you can have caregivers stay in there if this bill were to pass. A lot of times older population can remain independent and age in place. If they own the property, they want to move into the accessory dwelling unit and then rent out the actual home. It's a practical opportunity for tenants seeking small, affordable price rental housing. If you look at some of the economic forecasts, some of the biggest issues we have in Maryland is affordable housing and housing altogether, right? We have younger members of our population that just can't afford an apartment, can't afford to buy a home. And with the infrastructure demands, if you put in a new development, this is a small way to allow homeowners to take advantage of their property and make some income as well if they decide to rent it out. So that bill's coming up. It does kind of slow urban sprawl. Some of the other talking points, it does increase the value of your home. So that will increase the income tax revenue for the county. So there's a lot of advantages. Currently, the ADU bills we have, or the permitted uses, just family members, there really isn't a huge increase. It's only 10 per year, as it is now, to just family members, people applying for the ADUs. Some of the restrictions that we'll have on it, so if you put an ADU on a piece of property and you sell the piece of property, you have to go back before the county and request a permit to have that accessory dwelling unit. So it is county approved. It would be incumbent on the health department approving water and sewer, or well and septic, before you get approval for the accessory dwelling unit. So we have a public hearing coming up. I want to say it is February 6th. So come on out, or if you have any questions beforehand, just email me, and I'll respond back as soon as I can. Go back to my notes. How about that? Where did I go?
They don't change much.
MACO, Maryland Associations of Counties, we all know the legislative effort is starting here in a couple days, so there will be a lot of different efforts in Annapolis to produce legislation. Some of the concerns or some of the topics we have now is just economics. We had the Maryland Secretary of Commerce here on a roundtable about 2 weeks ago. I think Angela was there as well. So that was enlightening, just kind of about the economic standpoint of our county and our state. There will also be some legalization of marijuana that got passed last year, some zoning questions that will be needed to answered, both on the county level and the state level, as far as usage, occupancy of it, where you can smoke in some of the facilities. Also, blueprint will be a topic in the county as far as the budget as it approaches on kind of the cost of the blueprint, the Kerwin for Harford County Public Schools, and the forecast of 2 to 5 years out on the cost for the county as far as mandatory pre-K. So those are discussion points. We had a ribbon cutting ceremony on 2 Upper Chesapeake facilities. The new hospital in Aberdeen will be on place. I think it's February 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
February 6th.
Yeah, so that's exciting. So I think they're hoping that no snow comes and they're going to transition
Don't
over.
call that a hospital.
What's that?
It's not a hospital.
Well, I'm not a subject matter expert, so there's also a bed tower ribbon cutting that took place a few days ago. That is going to be cancer floor with increased beds for there. So I think it's exciting for the county that these 2 facilities are going to be in place very, very soon. As far as the FY23 annual comprehensive report that my office produced, you can find it on my Facebook page. If you want me to email a copy of it, it's about a 14-page in-depth look at the last FY23 and what we need to do going forward to stimulate our local economy. And the last thing, since we're sitting in the sheriff's office building, they are celebrating their 250th anniversary. On March 22nd here, there will be an open house. So if you guys wanted to come out, I think there's going to be more details listed online with the sheriff's
We're
office.
doing hot dogs and hamburgers.
There we go. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions or concerns or issues. Yes, ma'am.
Can you just repeat the hearing date for the first thing you were talking about, the habitat thing?
The hearing date is January 16th at 6:45 on the council chambers. Yes, sir.
If no one else will say it, I'll say thank you for the vote on the hotel tax money.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dion, that was Dion's bill. He spearheaded. I believe in it. Edgewood and Joppa are near and dear to my heart. I grew up in Edgewood, And I think it's misguided that, you know, the other municipalities get 50% and we get 25 here. So we're looking forward to at least it passing, just not in the format that we want, but there's always another day. So I do want to thank Angela and Eric for being here. You know, they are going to be able to use the money that's earmarked in this legislation for Visit Harford, the premier destination organization for the county. And what they'll be able to do now that they have, if this bill passes, I should say, be able to recruit tourism 2, 3, 4 years out now they have a dedicated funding source. So I look forward to what you guys can do. Sorry if I stole any of the thunder. I'm excited about it. So,
Just to add a comment onto that, and I don't wanna talk much. Can you and Councilman Guthrie look into any legal type of issues? It doesn't seem to me like that's fair taxation, and it almost seems discriminatory against us as a district that we are asked to take less when someone else gets more. It just doesn't feel
I agree
right.
with
It
you. I
feels
think
like
it's
something legally is not
it's a
proper.
matter of being incorporated with Aberdeen and Having Grace.
Oh.
But I will look into that and talk to the council attorney. We have had great at length conversations with him. So, but I'll follow up.
Thanks.
On that. Yep. All right, this is easy.
Good timing, man. Perfect.
So,
Have
all
a
right.
good night.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Good luck, thank you. I'm under the same clock, right?
You can have this extra 30
I-
seconds.
Before we go on, I really was remiss in introducing the council to you, so Adam, introduce yourself.
I'm Adam.
I like the way you did that.
Thank you.
Less than 10 seconds.
And you are
I'm the
the
co-chair.
co-chair.
Jim Lyons, hi, representing Joppa, Magnolia, and don't forget, Wednesday's bingo night, it's starting at 6 o'clock. I used to represent Gloria, but she represents herself now.
Yeah, that's true. Gloria Moon in rural Joppa, not Joppatowne.
I'm Paula Mullis, I'm your chair.
Melissa DeRisca, Edgewood.
Bob Brooks out of Edgewood.
I'm Marion Ford and I'm a member I'm the secretary. I have one thing before everything gets started and I forget. Our special ed department is doing a Cookie of the Month Club and they need a mixer. So
Stand mixer.
if anybody has a stand mixer that they can donate, you can let me know.
Which group was this?
Our special ed kids at Joppatowne High School have started a Cookie of the Month Club. So we all joined for $15 and then once a month they deliver us 3 cookies in a bag. And they love it. So, but their mixer that they have now was donated and it kind of smells like it's burning up, they told me. So, they're in need of another mixer.
Did they, real quick, did they apply to, Costco or Walmart? They do grants, a $50 grant and get them, yeah, they do, all they gotta do is write the district store.
Oh, really? I don't know, I didn't ask them.
Trust me,
We
I
thought-
got
Okay.
money out of them for the
Yeah.
federal government
Okay.
for free.
All right, and just so that you know, for the folks that are here that are in the back, I asked Aaron to see if he can get the deputy to come in and get some more chairs so that you don't have to stand. I do know that
You
you're
could
back
sit
there.
next to Dion.
There's one.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there's one here too.
But I did ask him to get them
Let's
extra
see
chairs,
here.
I
yeah.
have a question. When are y'all elections for the advisory board?
What is the elections for what?
Election.
There's no
There is
election.
no election,
no-
so you have to be on the board, you send an application into the county executive's office.
They
Okay,
have
and where is the application?
It's right on the website.
Okay.
And it's when the administration is elected, they choose. You get to apply at that one little time.
Yeah,
So we're stuck for 4 years. Right?
Unless somebody resigns and then
Yeah.
there's a.
Well, stop, this is my 13th year. This chair. And Jansen, how long were you chair? Forever, right?
Close to 25.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been on and off for
All right.
decades.
This is like
That's
a life.
enough from the board, let's move on.
All right, just real quick before we get to our main speaker, Barry Klein is here. She is with Healthy Harping and asked for a few minutes to tell us about some health needs in the Edgewood and Joppa area. Barry?
So I'm just gonna stand in here. So I wanted to talk about our community health needs assessment.
Sorry, we need you.
Yeah, if you come up to the front so everybody can hear you. I got that little. I'm gonna have to put my best friend.
And I'm sorry, what's your name?
Barry, B-A-R-I, Klein.
Okay.
I'll take off my mask, it's probably easier to hear me.
L-E-I-N?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah. So good evening, and thanks for the few minutes to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the health community. So I'm the Executive Director of Healthy Hartford, and we are the Healthy Communities Initiative of Harford County. We're founded in 1993 with a cooperation between the Health Department, the hospital, and county government, with the sole purpose of making Harford County the healthiest county in Maryland. So one of the things that's happening now, and I see Felicia's here from the health department, so if you have any questions, I do need to leave, but Felicia could definitely answer any questions you have. Right now, we're doing something called the Community Health Needs Assessment, and this is done every 3 years, 3 to 5 years, depending whether or not it's health department or hospital. There'll just be an addendum to bridge between 3 and 5. And what this is, it's a survey that goes out, and every county in Maryland does this. And it's 15 minutes, 50 questions. It asks people all about their health concerns, and what they want in their community. And the reason I'm here tonight is because the latest data is showing that Edgewood is not represented in this survey. So we're looking at it, and I'm trying to contact those entities that are not well represented. So this will create policies and programs for the next 3 to 5 years. And it's something that is used, the data is used for grants and for other purposes in the community. So if your voice is not in this survey, then you don't have a voice in health policy. So again, males are underrepresented, the communities of Edgewood, Joppa, Joppatowne are not represented, and people of color are not represented. So please take the time, I'm gonna leave these, I have them in both English and Spanish, and take the time to fill out this survey, and then just share this with everybody in your sphere. Because I hear over and over again from the people in this community that their voices are not represented, and we definitely want to work to ameliorate that and make it so that there is a voice, and so this can make that happen. The other thing I want to highlight is that the hospital is well aware that there's a lack of primary care, well, there's a lack of primary care throughout Harford County, but in particular in the Edgewood community. So this is recently opened. It's called the Woodbridge Clinic. It's at the health department over here at Woodbridge Center. It is open on Mondays from 10 to 2, and you can make an appointment, but you could also just walk in. It's for anybody regardless of their insurance status. It is not urgent care, although you could go there if you have an urgent need. But it's there to help people address whatever it is they need addressed, and then they will get a referral out to wherever they need to be. So you're not gonna go there if you have a broken arm, or you're not gonna go there if you need stitches, but say you have an upper respiratory issue, or you need a diabetes test, or you need to get a flu shot, any of those things that you would need from a primary care provider, please know that this is here for you in the community, and that there are ongoing efforts to bring more primary care to Edgewood. And I was talking to Ms. Karen over there, and so I wanted to mention 2 or 3 other things. So A, with the new Aberdeen Medical Center that's opening up, before it opens, there are free tours. So if you want to see what that looks like, there are 3 community tours that are open. So go on the hospital's Facebook page, find where they are, and then register. The tour will blow your socks off. I'm sure, Angela, you've been there. I mean, it's just amazing. We have state-of-the-art building going up there, and you should know what's in there. The other thing is, in the Edgewood community, we have 2 exercise programs that are free. On Mondays at 7, we have urban line dancing at the Epicenter, taught by sisters, Disco Sisters and Brothers. It is a lot of fun. So please, we're inviting you all to come and do that. And then the 4th Saturday at the park adjacent to Mag Elementary, we have Walk with the Doc. So we have some of the leading docs in the community giving a lecture for 15-20 minutes on topics the community decides, and then everybody walks in community. Chiropractors, cardiologists, diabetes, Alzheimer's, whatever you want to hear about, bone specialists, we can get them, kidney specialists, and they will talk to you. And the purpose is not only to give health education and movement, but it's to get the community to know some of these really important docs that we have and feel like there's a relationship with them, because at the end of the day, Upper Chesapeake's still our community hospital, and we want to still foster that community atmosphere. Any questions? Yes.
So, would you be willing to give flyers, like a stack of those flyers? So, cause I know me and I live in Harford Square, and I know me and a couple other homeowners, we walk the community handing out stuff. And I think that, cause a lot of people, some don't have access to the internet or don't come to meetings like this. So if you would be able to provide us like with a stack of flyers, we could actually put them on people's doors.
I appreciate that offer, thank you. I'm gonna give you my card, and we can even give you the surveys in paper format, so not a problem.
Yeah, that would be really helpful,
Yes.
because they don't let us know anything in our community either. When I go around and tell people or catch them outside, they're shocked about things that are going on or programs and stuff. They didn't know about the exercise at the Epic Center.
Yeah.
The community center department complex knows, but they
But they
haven't
don't
told
send
us.
it on, I know,
Yep.
communication's a problem, it really is.
Yeah.
Felicia.
Just in answer to her question, I just met this young lady here, Carmen, and she has all of those flyers.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
so I went up to her on Friday, and Harford Town is fully taken care of with all of our health resources and flyers.
Thank you.
Yes, so yeah, we work a lot together, and just to pitch our program, on Tuesday at noon to 2, we're doing cooking classes over at the Village of Lakeview, and then first one pediatrician's gonna do the cooking classes, and then afterwards, Dr. Halstead, the intern, is gonna talk about herbal teas and how they benefit your health as well.
Are there any
So-
leftover mixers?
Stand mixer, she needs a mixer.
If there's a leftover,
Oh,
I'm just teasing.
Yeah, it's mostly roasted vegetables.
Thank
So
you.
I'm gonna leave this here, I'm gonna give you some cards as well.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. In the springtime, do you think that the health department would be open to put, cause I know, in the city, sometimes they have like these big buses that go around to like low income communities to do like testing for like HIV, diabetes, things like quick testing. Do you think like in the summer or the spring that Harford Square could potentially does Harford County even have those type of buses?
So the hospital does, it's called a health, what's not called health, it's called community health outreach van, it's giant red Winnebago. And so July 1 is when they get a new budget. So at this point, the budget to June 30th has already been allocated.
Okay.
But if you want something for the summer, again, I'll leave my cards, request that,
thank
and we
you.
can get it on the schedule. I'm not sure the date, but you can go on the Healthy Hartford website, which is just healthyhartford.org, and you can see the schedule for that van. It already is in the community. And you can get a diabetes risk assessment, a stroke assessment, you can get cholesterol checked for $10, you get your blood pressure taken for free, like it already exists. Whether or not if you want it in a specialized place, then that's something that they would have to allocate time and nursing hours towards.
Yeah, because, I've ran into a few people that complain about diabetes medicine, about, like, they go to the emergency room and they may actually get a 30-day supply of insulin, but then after that, then they're back in the same situation because there's no, they don't know of resources that they can go to.
So they just need to be really upfront about their insurance status, because there is an entity called CEDCO here in Harford County, and they will assess what your insurance needs are, because what that person needs is not a short fix, they need a long-term solution. And they need to make sure that they have the appropriate insurance to get their insulin. So CEDCO's over in Churchville, but they also make rounds.
Yeah.
And we can put that person in contact with them. It sounds like we need to do a community education for you specific, because you seem to be the influencer for your community, and we'd be happy to do that for you.
Yeah, because I'm definitely concerned, I have health insurance, but I'm concerned about the older people that may not have insurance.
So we have a lot of resources, and what our goal is to create community influencers like yourself, because we can't be everywhere, and we want you all to be knowledgeable enough that you feel comfortable with making referrals, but if not, calling us, because you know that we can find that information for
Okay,
you.
thank you. I'll get your card
Thank you,
before I
yes.
leave. Thank you.
Are these? Are you gonna do?
I don't have anything to
Oh, okay.
report.
Okay.
Oh, nothing happened, great.
I know.
We're in great shape, yeah.
No,
All right, so now, ladies and gentlemen, I know this is the time we've all been waiting for. And I promised these gentlemen that we would all be gentle. I'm gonna let you introduce them.
Might have
Ah,
hit me a couple times.
I only know David Greenwood, those two guys are off the hook. And I just emailed and said, you know, we need you to come out because we're impacted the most, I think, by this.
Okay. Well, again, my name's Dave Greenwood. I work for the Transportation Authority as the project manager for the entire EPL
I'm
program.
sorry, can you speak up? Cause I can't hear you.
Okay. Again, my name's Dave Greenwood. I'm the project manager working for the Transportation Authority on the EPL program. But with me tonight is Brian Wolf, who's the Director of Project Development for the Authority, as well as Darren Augustiniak, who's the project engineer for the Maryland 152 interchange project.
So we did not bring,
How about stand up so that everybody?
we did not bring a canned presentation tonight. We've presented the overall program for several years now at public meetings. We've been here in this building for another community presentation several years ago. We recognize there's concerns and questions, and so we just felt like we would just jump right into your questions and concerns on what's impacting you right now with the projects, rather than go through a typical cookie cutter project by project presentation. So,
I'm
questions?
gonna ask the
That's
first
great.
question. Maryland 152, and that ramp to get onto 95, when in heaven's name is that going to be finished? I use that every Friday night when I'm going up to Temple, and most of the time I can't find out which lane it is to get onto 95, and is there a lane to get onto 95? It's really,
To go northbound 95 or southbound.
northbound.
Right now, we are installing the last bit of the storm drain pipe out front of 95, in front of 152, in front of the strip mall. Well, if the weather didn't come tomorrow, we will be finished tomorrow. We have another day. Once we get all the pipe installed, our plan is to redo all the curb and gutter, the sidewalk, make it nice and safe again, a little bit wider. Then we'll reconstruct the ramp to go down 95 northbound. It is a little congested with all the drums we have to pretty much identify the gore and our construction areas. It is congested, but it's pretty much one lane through right now. We get rid of all that MOT device, our maintenance and traffic devices. It'll be a whole lot clearer for the traveling public to go northbound 95.
Well, once you finish, like after tomorrow, then what kind of time frame are you looking for? to
Right now
finish
with the
project?
With the pipe being completed in another, let's just say a
Right.
day of pipe installation, we'll have 3 to 4 weeks to install all the curb and gutter back. On the backside, we give a little bit widened road, that's what we're doing here. All the sidewalk to put back, and then we'll start putting back all the new asphalt to tie into the ramp going 95 northbound. That's all under our last construction up top, our one more phase after this one to complete the bridge. And this is all tied into that, the whole opening of everything.
Meanwhile, can you just put some painted stripes on? I mean, it's hard to find where the lane is.
We actually just
Especially
overlaid
at
all
night.
that, all those lane lines before the rain event came Friday. We were out there Thursday and we brightened up the whole area.
Oh, good.
We plan on another traffic shift upcoming, and if any of that faded, we'll do it again.
Okay.
That is priority for everyone
Yeah.
in these
It's hard
areas.
to
We
see.
wanna lighten up the roads,
Yep.
whether it's reflectors or the paint.
Yep.
Some areas we have paint, some we have the thin line thermo. It's a big difference, but if it's placed properly, you're gonna see the lines. They
When you
get
say the
tall.
pipes, is that the big inch you're
The
talking about?
the storm drain pipe, yes. We're adding all new
That's
storm
not
drain.
storm drain, big
Not the,
inches are water.
yeah, not the 108-inch main.
No,
Okay.
we're finished working in and around that area, but that was
Are you
basically
gonna actually move
northbound.
that?
No,
No?
no, that's
Oh.
Baltimore City.
I know.
And, yeah, we've done all of our construction to avoid and minimize that as much as
Good.
possible.
Yes.
We've been working with the city since the inception of these projects to maintain that water line.
Okay.
I know we have more questions, one at a time. Ma'am? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, coming off on exit 74, when it gets dark, like at like 10, 11 o'clock, it's like pitch black. You can't even see, like, if you're going to run off the road. So y'all need some type of, like, maybe until y'all get stuff situated, like lighting needs to be, y'all need to bring in like temporary lighting. Because like I have actually almost ran, cause it's like one day you come off the ramp, it's going one way, and then the next day it's going another way. So and you don't know until you actually come up on it. So we need some type of lighting, temporary lighting put up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me? Oh, so I think this kind of goes to many of the comments here. Between what's happening in 95 and then all the exits and everything, something does not feel controlled and safe. There is an accident there every single night on that, where that construction is being done, whether it's on 95. I mean, we hear it in this meeting every month, how many vehicles are being used by the volunteer fire department, ambulance calls going out there for accidents. So I don't know if you guys just need to take a step back and do a top end, start to finish safety review, because something's not lit properly, or lanes are being exchanged, people are going too fast. I mean, maybe you need to cut that speed down going through there to 40 miles an hour and start giving tickets. Get with the Maryland State Police, but something has got to change. I mean, it's crazy through there. I avoid it now. I don't even get on anymore. I go up 40 to some other spot and get on and get off, because it's just, I don't want to hurt one of your guys. It's dangerous down there.
It's been that way since day one, 30 years now. But what we do to try to implement more safety, we add Maryland State Police with our closures that are running points on all the speeders. We're out there being protected by a cone every 8 foot. We don't like it. We put protection vehicles behind us. We lighten up the reflectors every 48 feet on these barrier walls, but you still have the people flying. We can't help that. We implement every stage of every construction lane closure. It's implemented per our Maryland standard. They tell us how long the tapers have to be before you get into the lane, which is 1,000 feet, and then our placement of the devices thereafter. And then here we come in the middle of all that to do our job. We feel the people flying all next to us. Since we started here, we had some concern. So we added some of the speed light cameras. We got 2 on northbound 95. We have 1 on southbound. When we're not here and we're a mile away from our job, like we had one today, people are just playing on their phones, and it's obstructing us. It hurts us. We're the ones building these roads and harden our progress, but we feel your concern. We're trying our best to put up all these protection devices as we're building our new storm drains and inlets. These things are costly, but we put them out there to prevent us from getting hit. But you have those idiot drivers that just don't get it.
So you had those, 5 people killed from that?
And they were friends of ours, yes, sir, and it's sad to say. How can I prevent them from going 120 miles an hour? I could reduce it to 40 or 60 like they had there, and what did that matter? We have 60.
Okay, to piggyback off the issues that have been raised, hopefully you can speak to someone, and I would suggest that they put in probably 2 more cameras going each way, and maybe extend it all the way down, because it was only from the top coming down Harford County line to the White Marsh exit, which is 68 or whatever,
67, yes. White Marsh, yes. 40.
And everything, and because they're right about the thing, but the biggest problem is the lighting, because I had the same problem with her. A car in front of me, when it was opened up, almost ran over into the hole there, because that lighting is extremely poor when you come off northbound 95 on the 152, and also those lane markers get crazy there, so there has to be something there for
We'll look
safety.
into the lights. We're actually on the part now of the contract, we're actually installing all the permanent. A lot of this stuff we have out there, we're trying to maintain existing older lights. We are putting everything up LED, higher, more pronounced, you know, but we're getting there right now, but we will take a look at that.
Okay, and then, sir, I vaguely remember you because I came to some of those meetings when you all had talked about this project, and the issue that came up in here last month was the fact about, you know, when I came to those meetings, you all promised that you would not have, like our lady here on the board that lives on these feeder routes trapped in their houses because of this extra traffic. And that's happening to people on Route 7. What street were you, man?
I'm on Short Drive, but yeah.
Yeah, off of Raphael. Yeah, Jerusalem. The trucks and stuff coming through. Like she said, 4 to 6 rush hour is not even no chance or worth her time to try and get out of her driveway. My friends are having the same problem that have houses and driveways on Route 7. And then there are a couple places where one gentleman here last month had brought up about the light. I think that's down at 7 in Raphael, where it's just flashing at certain times of the day. It really should be used and on because of that traffic. How much longer or how close do you all to being on the timeline? Because at a couple of meetings you all said 2025, and come on now, you got people suffering.
This project, the 152 interchange, is on schedule to be completed by the end of this year.
Okay.
The interchange will be done and open to traffic.
Okay, and then
So-
what about the rest of the
And the
95?
So
Because that's causing, like I said, you're getting traffic, people frustrated. Every time I turn around, I'm subscribed to the state police newsletters. I get one every day about a daggone accident somewhere on 95 within Harford County. Yeah, help the people.
Bill?
I know, I'm
Yeah, there are signs that you don't seem to have up there. There is the sign with a flashing light that directs people in the lane. There are signs that don't say unusual traffic patterns, that say new traffic patterns. They gotta be almost up to 24 and beyond, so people start having time to do it, and they're not there.
What we do, I give 1 week notice to the traveling public. When we're ready to shift traffic, what I'll do is put the BMSs out there, new traffic pattern on that particular date. Then once we get there on that date, we shift traffic, whether it's to the left or to the right, we leave that same board up stating new traffic pattern, stay alert. And we only put it in the areas we're shifted. And out of that 3 mile stretch of the one I'm on, the project I'm on, we might shift a mile at a time because of the amount of work in that area. But we always put those up. Always, I have to. And then they put them up on the DMS boards, the big signs from the AOC department, new traffic pattern, use caution. They try to keep them up a week. But then once they have an accident, that message goes away. Accidents on left lanes, merge right. So they are being placed on the projects, the little BMSs, they're 8x8. We put those up every time we shift traffic, and then we leave them up a week after that to let everybody get used to the new pattern.
I hear you, I don't see the signs.
BMSs and the signs are up on any particular new shift that we put out there. I mean, that's a standard for us. We follow this Maryland standard that's a generic from the state, an approved setup to do anything that we're doing out there on a 65-mile-an-hour road. And out here on 50 miles an hour, we do the same on 152. We implement everything the same way. It's per standard, and we have criteria for that. One is those VMS boards, and we make sure they are up.
I'm with him. I saw them up and down 152
Yes.
itself, but coming off, like she was saying, coming off of the exit 74 onto, no, there aren't those boards warning you about, hey, this exit is gonna be crazy and everything and the lane shifts and stuff. There should be something there.
I'll look into that, we'll look into that and see why they weren't, but I'm pretty sure.
I have a question. There's, in White Marsh, you have this huge overhead sign saying, here is your ETL. And I see these concrete stanchions, I guess,
For now.
on 152. Please tell me you're not gonna ruin rural Joppa with a huge day glow sign that says to I-95 ETL.
No, we don't have any of that, I can tell you that on our job, we do not.
So what is that stanchion for, do you know?
The overhead signs approaching 95.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
we
How
don't-
tall are they? How big are they? How bright are they?
The mass lighting, are we talking the mass
No,
lighting?
the
She's
overhead.
talking about the
Yeah,
overhead.
Sign,
You've
it's
got
a sign.
It's they're sign panels, just like you would normally see.
Yes,
Okay.
and, but
Right.
Well,
are they illuminated?
to just let you know,
We can check on that.
Yeah.
Normally
Wait,
now,
just remember, you're in a rural area.
normally now it's reflectorized from the headlights, it lights it up,
Yes.
but we'll check on that.
Yeah, check on
We're
that.
pulling back from lighted signs and already.
All right, and just one more thing, ETLs do not, I call them Lexus lanes, that's how they started out. You have to have the money to use them, so I think they're discriminatory. And tolls are certainly not paying for the extra construction. That, I mean, if you just put in 2 extra lanes, you'd be fine. But all this stuff you're putting in is, I don't know what the purpose is.
Well, you're separating the 2 facilities. You have the general purpose, which will be non-tolled between the river and the tunnel, so you can still get back to the 4 lanes you have now. And you have 2 express lanes,
Why?
because then you can separate traffic, gives
You
everybody.
could separate it without making people pay for it.
Well,
'Cause
actually-
tolls are
actually,
not-
the toll rates are very reasonable considering what they provide, and they're based on demand management. So, in other words, they'll increase it or basically base the rate on in order to maintain a level service of C, which is free flowing. So, if the case of that, then you could be bogged down in the general purpose, but if you pay $1.50 at peak hour, you can basically go congestion free in the ETL. If you just widen it out, then it's gonna create just as much congestion because the distance between exits is such that people get on, they'll rush over to the left, they'll go fast, and then, I gotta get off at 695, I gotta get off at somewhere else, and there'll be weaving of traffic.
You can still make them discreet without charging, because these tolls are not paying their way.
They're not supposed to pay for the construction.
What are they supposed to do then?
Again, they set it based on demand from the traffic. Whatever traffic demand, you reach a certain level, if you open it up, then you only have 2 lanes, it'll become completely congested, because everybody wanna jump in there.
That's not logical.
But it is what it is.
Something to keep in mind, all of our facilities, MBTA own, the Chesapeake Bay, the tunnels, 95 to Delaware, we are fully funded through tolls only. We do not take federal dollars from the trust fund to do any rehabilitation work whatsoever.
And your bonds are 50 years?
We do have bonds, I can't speak to the
50
financial.
years at least. I know they're 50-year bonds.
So everything we do is funded through tolls.
Or bonds, loans. It's a nice way of saying loan. Okay,
When
I
we
just
have
don't, and are you ever going to come south? You have lanes?
The volumes aren't there yet. We are watching that. The traffic volume southbound, because southbound right now does have a 4th lane. Northbound did not. The volumes aren't showing in the southbound to trigger having to do ETL lanes southbound right now. Now, we have them from 43 south into Baltimore, but our traffic studies aren't showing that we need them quite yet north of 43.
I think what I'd like to see those ETL lanes turn into is a mass transit, a good train system. I think that would be
That'd be
ideal,
fantastic.
rather than cars.
It would be great.
Just my thought, thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
We're at the end of our time.
He never
We're at the end
answered
of our
about
time.
the overall 95 project. Is it still on schedule to be finished 2025 so that the people where all of the 95 traffic is exiting onto 40, onto 70, onto 7 and stuff, so these people aren't, you know, hostage. Like I said, I came to those input meetings. Y'all said that you wouldn't have them, that you would monitor the traffic and stuff closely, and it just doesn't seem like that's been happening.
I recall what happened was that I think, my memory is that we'd be open by the end of 26. And then COVID hit and some other things hit as far as impacts to the program. So now we're gonna be done at the end of 27. The end of 27 will include the Maryland 24 interchange reconstruction, as well as additional work north of 24 on 95.
22?
Right, Dee,
No,
do you have a question?
Yeah, going southbound, as you come to 152, there's a left exit ramp that goes up. It's been done for probably a year or more.
At White Marsh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is that gonna open? When are they gonna let the cars go up there? I mean, it's been done for years.
That construction was done to basically make available the necessary infrastructure for when southbound was completed. It's just like every interchange and overpass here going up the corridor is being built for the future southbound. So all the overhead interchange work will accommodate southbound, and it'll just be mainly the mainline roadway.
So it's never open.
Well, last suggestion
Alright,
for
last
my
one.
dear friend over here, I have to agree with her. Maybe y'all could go back and request that the tractor trailers and stuff not bombard the road she's off of Jerusalem. Let them stay with,
Yeah.
let them stay with 7 and 40, because that, I agree with her, that area is just too rural to be having those tractor trailers feeding off of there. And I know the people on Route 7 aren't gonna be happy, but I'll tell them what you said about the update. Thank you for coming.
Gentlemen, thank you so much, I really appreciate it.
very welcome. Happy New Year to everybody.
We may call you back in another day to give us a further update.
Next year.
Oh, does anybody have a
I'm
card?
retiring next year, I won't be.
Congratulations.
I'm the guy here every day.
He won't have to.
We thank them for coming. Alright, so now I'd like to introduce Angela Rose. Angela is with the Chamber and also is here to talk to us about tourism and tourism grants and things that we can expect.
Yep.
So Angela, come on up, the floor
Will
is yours.
do. So when you email me, Paula, you said grants, so you're stuck with listening to various types of grants, not just tourism this evening.
Okay.
I printed out 15 copies. I didn't know how many I was gonna need, so I will send this to you.
It'll also be on the live stream.
Perfect, yes, I know it's on the live stream, but, I wasn't sure if we were gonna have the ability to show it or not. So, as Paula said, my name's Angela Rose, I'm with the Harford County Chamber of Commerce. In the handouts, just to quickly go over what a chamber is, we are a membership-based advocacy organization, so we tout ourselves as the voice of business. I'm not an elected official. I don't work for the government. We are a private entity. We are 501c6, not a 501c3, which is a charitable organization. We are considered an association. If you got a handout, my contact information is on there. So that's the first slide, basically just tells you what our mission is, and who we are as an organization. Looking at grants from the top down, obviously, there are federal grants. They're very difficult to secure and quite cumbersome. So if you're looking at, grants.gov, that type of thing, there's not gonna be a lot out there. I actually just got information today from Senator Van Hollen's office. I know one of the projects that Councilman Guthrie has talked about is lighting. There are federal dollars through Senator Van Hollen and Senator Cardin's office through appropriations that could be used for a capital project. So there is a information session January 26th at 11 a.m. That's a virtual, and again, if you got a packet, that is in there. Going into state grants, you'll have grants from the governor's office that can be used for community and neighborhood grants. You'll also have grants through the Maryland State Department of Housing and Community Development. Those sometimes are neighborhood grants, they could be facade grants. There's a whole variety of different grants that you can get through the state. And then bond bills, that's something that Councilman Guthrie and I talked about for capital projects. So some of those projects that he's referenced, you can work with your state delegates and senators to put in a request for a bond bill, and then you go down to Annapolis, you plead your case as to why you should get this money for a capital project, and then hopefully there will be funds earmarked for you. Looking at local, so I put Harford County on here. Currently, Harford County does not offer any grants. What I have heard is the county executive is going to be reopening his the county's loan program. That's geared more toward business. During COVID, there were some grants that the county offered, but typically they're really business oriented. So if we're looking at some of the other entities that we have in the county, that different nonprofits, most of these have to be nonprofits that need to apply, so that 501c3, a charitable organization, we're looking at different entities in the county. And with that, I'll turn it over to Eric Rebert, who's interim director for Visit Harford, to talk about the tourism grants and that TARP process for tourism funding through the county.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Just a real quick question, because last year was the first year that we didn't have our Independence Day parade for Joppa, Edgewood. And somebody had asked, isn't there not a grant from Harford County that would help us with that? Is there not anything?
So that probably, I think in the past, has been applied through a tourism grant.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know of any other ones. Do you, Councilman,
Well,
through the county that would
My
offer it?
wife and I ran it for 15 years, and we would get from the county, every year we'd get about $5,000. But it took about $22,000 to $25,000 to run it.
Right.
So the rest was put on us to raise, and we raised it. We got donations, and we got, we put on the carnival, and then we had a whole bunch, a lot of people in this room volunteer to sell tickets, and when they did, we got 20% of the gate, and that's how we funded. But unfortunately, the people that we turned it over to dropped the ball, and the 22,000 we gave them went out the door, and it's gone.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Good. Do I need to stand over here?
That way everybody can see and hear you.
Sure. I apologize. I'm recovering from something. Anyway.
Oh, then stay on that.
No, I'm about 2 weeks past due, but I do lose my voice, and I do have a little clear in my throat. But I wanted to be here this evening. Gloria, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. Gloria and I sit together on the budget advisory board. I've known her for years.
Gloria sits on every.
She does. She's everywhere I turn around. I run into Gloria somewhere, and she's absolutely fabulous. So great to work with.
We know that. That's why she's sitting on this board.
So I'm just kind of tagging on to what Angela commented. So I'm the interim executive director for Visit Harford. For those of you who don't know who Visit Harford is, they are the destination marketing organization for the Harford County. And what does that mean? Well, years ago, tourism used to be part of the county government. So there was an agency within the county government that promoted Harford County to bring tourism and events into the county to help boost us in our local economy. About 10 years ago, give or take, the county made a decision that they would separate that function outside, and they created Visit Harford. So it's its own entity, very similar to the Harford County Chamber of Commerce. Visit Harford doesn't control the grants that the Harford County government issues. You can go out there and do that. They have a partnership fund that the county executive had around last year, which they gave away about $645,000 in grants, tourism grants now. And then they also had the Strides Fund, which was about $270,000 that they gave away as well. So somewhere around, just under $1 million in county funding was available for organizations to apply for, to promote their different activities. What Visit Harford does is we also work with local organizations. I tell you some of the work we've done here in this region, in this part of the county over the years. We were big sponsors and supporters for the Bassmaster events back in 2018. We actually were able to generate $45,000 in sponsorship funds for that specific event. They also did the Fishing League worldwide, which was a couple $1,000s each year for those events as well. We're involved with the Harford Civil Rights Project right now. We have a couple of different trails. We have a mural trail, which we're working with here with folks and artists in Edgewood and Joppatowne area. We're also working with, we have an ice cream trail If you haven't done the ice cream trail, you can go to our website, you can download the app, and you can go visit all the ice creameries around the county. So we have Edgewood Creamery as part of that experiential trail there. And we also have the Sam Snowballs on our snowball trail. So these are some of the things that we do to promote some of the business and tourism type activities so that when people come in, we focus most of our energy in outside the market of Harford County. So we are promoters of Harford County to markets like Baltimore and Washington and Philadelphia and New York. You'd be surprised where people come from to visit Harford County. So we work with partners in the local communities to find out what events they're having so that we can tell folks, hey, if you're coming through the area, or if your kid's coming to a soccer event, or we had the big Upper Chesapeake Baseball Festival. They had 2 events last year. It's coming back again this year. So folks are going to be staying here in hotels, and they look for things to do. So we want to be able to promote those activities, like the ice cream trail and like the artist mural and things like that. Also a number of businesses that participate. We have Restaurant Week coming up on January 19th. It's actually like 10 days, it's not really a week, it's longer. But we'll be promoting that, and a number of restaurants have signed on board. It's free to them. We do that sponsorship for them so folks can come in and spend money in your local community to help your local business owners and hopefully do other things. So that's how we're involved. We don't administer the grants through the county, but we can help people, and we do have sponsorship opportunities that we will work with local organizations to help them promote their events so that they can bring people in as well. So.
And a lot of the work that I sit on the board for Visit Harford, so that just means I'm a volunteer that gets to be Eric's boss.
Yes.
He's my boss on the chamber board, right? But what a lot of that work that's done through the employees of Visit Harford is also to look at like national competitions and national tourism, kind of like Bassmaster, to bring to Harford County. So not necessarily just the outside travelers, but some of those larger scale events that's going to bring in a nice chunk of people, but only for a weekend, so they're not on the roads or things like that, you know, burdening the infrastructure. So, any questions for Eric?
Yeah, just for the sake of persons that might not know, could you explain the type of grants that you will fund or projects that you will fund under the hotel, the tourism grant?
So the Harford County Chamber doesn't administer any grants. We're a membership-based organization. Visit Harford doesn't do those grants either. That's the county.
Okay, could you explain some that you already know that have been approved through tourism?
So FY23, I know Councilman Guthrie has that list. We've done, say we as the county. Bel Air Downtown Alliance has gotten some. I believe Havre de Grace.
It was about 2 dozen organizations.
Because they're based with the new county executive. That application and grant process changed for FY23, you know, calendar year FY24. And so you really, the focus was heads in beds. Right. So you had to have some type of event and plan for these events that were going to generate overnight stays in hotels. So it wasn't just, you know, a 2-hour event, people coming in and leaving. They really wanted those heads in beds. So that was that partnership. Because that application process changed and the administration knew that there were going to be some nonprofits that were going to suffer, they created this other Strides program that was more operating.
Dion,
Can we get on that county website and see the grant process?
Yes.
Absolutely.
You absolutely can.
Yep.
I had it in my previous newsletter, I can bring it again.
Right, yeah, it would be,
I
it
can
would
get-
be
I-
good for those
I can actually
that
tell you.
have- Okay, you do, okay.
Give Debbie your email
He
address
has
and she'll
some,
send it
and
to
I
you.
wanted people to hear it, so they
One
wouldn't
at a
feel
time.
as though that they could not apply, you know, or feel defeated coming out of the gate. That there's the variety of funding that the tourism grant offers. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's okay. So like the Bel Air Downtown Alliance, they got grant funds to do like the barbecue bash that brings people into the county, those kind of things. Obviously, they'll do gardens for tourism. Also, the Highland Community Association, the Stepping Stone Museum, Friends of Concord Lighthouse up in Havre de Grace. Also, the Decoy Museum, the Havre de Grace Arts Collective. So these are some of the ones that received funding for that $600,000 in partnership funds. In the Strides grants, which Angela was just talking about, some of the smaller ones to help kind of jumpstart or kickstart their initiatives, the Susquehanna Wildlife Society, the Hosanna Community House, the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center, the Susquehanna Museum of Havre de Grace, the Havre de Grace Maritime Museum, the Discovery Center right up here at Water's Edge on Route 40. So those are some of the other organizations that got some funding, kind of a first round, to give them a chance to go out. So, I'm sorry.
Nothing down here.
All they have to do is apply.
How?
So if
Can I say something?
Yes, we need information on that.
so this is the county government, okay,
Right.
that you have to go to. That, and I know Dion's spoken a lot about this in his thing, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we were I was with the rec council, and I got two other people to work with me, and we were applying for those to do the Joppatowne Arts Festival. So you can be a small little group, and if you wanna put on an event in the community, you can apply for that. I mean, you have to continue to do the work for the money throughout the year, but none of us had ever done that before. And we did it, we filled out the paperwork right, and, it can be done. It's just people in the community have to start doing it.
And you received the funding?
Oh, yeah, we received funding for that, yeah, and we filled out the paperwork. They'll answer questions for you while you're filling it out, they'll do all of that stuff. It's just getting people to do it, don't be afraid to do it. I don't care how many big places are applying for money, we need to apply for that money. And
Right.
have events in our community and do things, but you gotta get people to do it, and it's hard,
But if I understand what you're saying correctly, is compared to when you had did that, they changed it last year to focus on, like you said, stuff not so much for the community immediately, but to get heads and beds up here. So
That
in other
was
words,
one
some of that went away to, like she's talking about, just kind of going in that way because they were looking at the bigger impact.
That's one of the other grants that you could have gotten, like the Strides. It may be a one and done, you may not get that again. The partnership program was a program, the Strides program was a program.
They have no way of telling how many heads and beds, if you have an event the same time that Bel Air has that big barbecue thing, then who's to say how many people stayed in that hotel? Is there somebody there asking them? No. So that's what they look at. So don't go by that to
Right, and
deter applying for a
I
grant.
totally agree with that, which is why I support his bill because, yeah, how are you saying just because you're bringing it in for this area or that? And then my biggest question is, you're saying that some of these groups got money, but have you all did any understudies to find out they might get the grant, but is there
But that's
truly
not them.
interest in
That's not them.
That's not us.
people
You-
coming?
if you
That's
see-
not us.
That's
They're
not
standing
them.
there getting grilled like they're the
Yeah.
county, but they're not the
the
county. You have to go to the county executive. You have a question in the
Yeah,
back.
I just wanted to share that as the 755 Alliance nonprofit, we did apply on 2 different occasions, one for the tourism part. The part where it stops is the table where you have to say how many people are you anticipating going to result in 2 to 3 nights heads in bed, which when you're doing a parade or our community fair, those are all 2 or 3 hour events. So it's hard to justify that, so the application really stops. And the Strides grant, I did look at that as well, but that says that this is the foundation for next year, so what are you gonna guarantee heads and beds for next year? So that's why I kind of paused this round. The deadline already passed, but I paused this round waiting for Coppermine to open. Their soft opening is around March or April, when we know those sports teams are gonna be here, and we can say, when there's 600 players and families, we can guesstimate, have a better handle on how many will stay. If it's a Thursday through Sunday weekend, tournament. So that's why the money hasn't really been granted down here. We don't have an event that's gonna last 2 or 3 days for kids and beds. Cause that's the narrative and the table that.
In that
put the
tourism
data in.
grant,
Right,
exactly.
the tourism as well as the stride, cause the stride, they'll
Yep.
give you the pot of money, but you gotta have,
That's that
result
stepping
the
stone till
second-
next
yeah,
year.
The
Yep.
second year, so.
Yeah, there does require a lot of work on the applicant side, there's no doubt, for the county funding and everything. And I gotta tell you that the largest tourism that comes into the county is sports tourism.
Right.
That's huge. So the idea is that any community organizations that's planning something, if they can leverage that event, okay, and that's the stuff that Visit Harford will help do, is help promote that as a package.
Right.
Okay, as a promotional and marketing organization, the destination organization in the county. So we won't apply, you have to apply through the county, but what we can do is say, well, great, there's this huge soccer tournament coming to Coppermine down here, right, in District A. And in doing so, we want you to go visit the ice cream trail, and we want you to go visit the museums that we have nearby, and we'll tie all that together with that promotional package. So that's a great point. Thank you so much. So,
Okay.
yes, sir.
We get frustrated that the money that we raise in hotels in Edgewood, I'm not even gonna talk Joppatowne because we don't have any hotels. The money's Edgewood's money, in my opinion, But, I think the frustration that you get is the money doesn't seem to ever flow down here, but the frustration on the county side is we don't have ideas that are big enough that we have a group who's gonna go run it and put on a 4-day event or a 3-day event. You have to I don't know how people do it. I've thought about it. I've thought about setting up the world's largest poker run, right? On kayaks. Because there isn't one yet, right? I've thought about the Joppa, the Harford County 400 bicycle race where we would shut down Route 40 on one side and do a bike race and put up a bunch of money. So I've thought of these ideas, but then I go, the effort for me to try to figure out how to do that and put it on and run it and manage it, forget it. I'm out.
You don't have to do that, but then you partner with
I have
different
to
organizations.
figure somebody out.
Yeah,
I have to call
absolutely.
the Bicycle Maryland, or I have to call somebody to run it, right? That's the hard part, is running something for that long.
No,
It's a challenge. You gotta get like 500 people to help run that thing. It's craziness. But anyway, I think that's the hard part. We got to get together as a community, figure out what is a big event we all really would help each other do. Who would we partner with? How do we get those resources? Because once you get it done the first year, it kind of, then it's on automatic a little bit, right? Getting over that first hump is a tough one.
I mean, I think that people, I think if we, especially in Edgewood, like I've only been living in Edgewood for 3 years now. And I think that if you start leaning on people, just like how I met Carmen, how I met just like asking questions, and like we have the same goal, and our goal is to build our community up, because like I said, Edgewood is just like, when I was looking for homes, people was like, oh my goodness, you don't want to live in Edgewood, oh my goodness, but I love my home. So I'm like, I have no problem, like, if someone comes to me and say, hey, I'm trying to plan a marathon, do you want to help? Yes. And you have high school kids that need credits to graduate. You have college. You have all of these colleges. I know I graduated from Morgan. I know that you have intern, like you have people that will do the work that we could reach out to, but we have to actually be willing to do it. And the thing is that people say they're gonna do it, but then when it's time to do it, it's like,
It's an 80-20 rule.
like, it's like, oh,
20%
I can't do this,
if you
but
have to work.
like, I'm willing, cause I wanna see Edgewood on the map. I don't wanna hear when someone says, oh, I'm gonna buy a house in Edgewood, they're like, oh, don't go there, it's horrible. Like, it's embarrassing.
Let's table it, you and I'll talk after the.
Right, but the biggest thing, I don't
We're at
think
the
you
end.
were there with the testimony for the bill, the attitude from your group and some of the other ones there, that, oh, we don't need the hotel tax money for tourism because we don't do anything there. Well, if we don't get any of the money for the infrastructure, he has his runners here. Where are they gonna go at and everything and stuff? There, you know, there's not a changing station or a place or like some type of convention center, or thank God, I'll be fighting with him to death to make sure we get this community center down in Joppa. So you can, if they want to change or whatever, and y'all took us to task at that meeting about the people speaking, well, we do this at Ladue Gardens and we do this here and stuff, but you won't give us any money so we can get tourism off the ground. That ain't right. Like she said, yeah, I know. It just it bugs me. It upsets me, and the stuff I heard at that hearing was terrible.
So during
one at a time.
and this may, you may not be able to answer, but this may be for you. During Councilman Penman's presentation, he indicated that once this bill passed, that there will be a dedicated funding source. Where does that, who gets that? Where does that go? The dedicated funding source?
The source, so we don't have a municipality, so we don't have the money that can be dumped in the municipality like it does in Aberdeen and Havre de Grace. We did go after 50%, and then we got cut to 25%.
No, not that. I'm not talking about,
The 25% is the money goes to Harford County. They have the money. And we need to go and we have an option to go after that 100 and it's about 100 now, about 134,000.
And then where does that money go if you get it?
It depends on you can bring some projects together and bring them in front of the county executive, and he can approve them or not approve them.
Okay, so he gets the money and then we have to go to him to get the money.
Or do we go through
It's
you?
similar when we did the parade. You know, we put it in every year. And in fact, they finally put us on the budget for $5,000 a year. But we had you talk about volunteers. We actually for the parade committee for the parade, we had 150 volunteers every year. That's how much it took to run the parade and the carnival. We had 150 volunteers.
That wasn't that. So he said that there would be a dedicated funding source so that either Visit Harford or some other organization could be looking at projects 3 to 4 years out.
Yes, so one of the amendments was that the destination marketing organization for the county would have funds earmarked to it.
And so that's the
That's
county.
that's Visit Harford at this point,
Okay.
designated by the county executive.
So Visit Harford would get and would have a dedicated funding source.
Correct, because up to this point, they haven't. Each year, they have to go before the administration and ask for their budget.
And so that dedicated, what does that, where does, when they get the dedicated funding source, so then you would be in a position to plan out or look at tourism related activities.
Yes.
In District A.
Yes, well, for the whole county, but yes, the
But,
one could be
yes.
focused on different things. So you gotta remember, because what Visit Harford does is it promotes the whole county with everything that it has going on to other parts, okay? It's one thing to have, you've gotta look at what's a visitor. And usually they look at about a 50-mile range, okay? So to have somebody come in from another area. So that's why we look bigger, okay? We look regional to bring folks into this area to attend your local events, and that's what we would help partner.
We have one more question, then we really need to move on.
Yes, my question is there, it sounds like there are a lot of ideas that we have in the Edgewood, Joppatowne area, and some that may have been conceptualized, but we're getting kind of blocked by the application requirements. Is there some type of strategic opportunity for us to sit with your organization to where we have a couple of different organizations here in Edgewood and Joppatowne so that we can strategically plan 3 years, this year, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year out to help us, because there's money set aside, folks aren't able to get past the requirements. How can you all strategically help us here in the Edgewood, Joppatowne area to actually get the money, help us create a package 3 year, 5 year plan out? What do we need to do? Because it sounds like we have different silos of things happening, you have money, we want the money, how do we get it? And can you help us get it?
You mean like having workshops?
Workshops, strategic.
So if you're looking at tourism, that's gonna be Visit Hartford and Northern County. Like, again, we as the chamber mostly work for our members. You know, we are a membership-based organization. But I know many of you in the room, and I would have no problem, you know, sitting down and going through some of these and seeing, you know, how to put pen to paper together and put something together.
So if we as a CAB decided to do some type of strategic planning workshop and invite you all to help us figure these things out, which may help us have a better conversation more than this 10 minutes that we have here, to really organize and do that, so that we can actually get the money and plan it. We want it, we wanna use it, we have ideas, we need help.
We definitely have
Absolutely.
one more comment and then we're gonna move on, go ahead.
Yeah, so in our neighborhoods, if we look at what our strengths are, with the, what is that called, Flying Point, they have the boat show that comes in. We have down by the Boys and Girls Club, they're gonna do a ribbon cutting ceremony eventually for that area with the ramps. So just our strengths in the community, create a weekend worth of things that'll bring in tourists, and then you guys combine, like you said, to go after the money. But if you can guarantee them a couple of hotels, or people to fill hotels, based off of a weekend, it's very doable.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds doable. It sounds like we need to have some type of workshop, session, so that everyone can collectively come together and jointly come up with a strategic plan, so that we can present something that meets the requirements, that also will actually get us the money, instead of kind of going in this cyclical process where we still are not coming out winning in this area.
I agree, you're on the right path. Absolutely.
Can I just ask one? You guys have to.
Just one question and then next, and we really good, and move on.
So when you're filling out
So
the
I-
application, because you do for the
One at a time.
what is, do all of the hotels give their, number of beds sold? I mean, how do we know the number of beds sold in the county?
They're audited.
Have something to work with.
The county auditor audits all there's a problem that we have picked up going through this whole process. We've opened a lot of Pandora's box with this bill,
Yeah.
believe it or not. And one of the things the auditors, I sat with the auditors last couple of weeks, and they audit the hotels to make sure that they're paying the 6% tax on every room that's rented. With the exception of if there are government people, and we have a lot of them because of APG, stay in the hotels, they're exempt from that 6%. Okay, so the hotels have to keep track of all that, so it's a lot of work for them to figure it out. So we have these 9 hotels here that are in District A, mainly in Edgewood, and they create about $685,000 a year from those 9 hotels at that 6%. Over the last 9 years, that's over $5.5 million.
Yeah, but how does everybody figure out the number of beds?
It's a reporting
It's a hotel.
sales.
There's a reporting system.
It's a reporting system from
But
the
no.
hoteliers to the county.
The hotel has to keep a record. The hotel has a record.
Yeah, but will they give us that information so we know when we're filling it out?
So if you were applying as X, Y, and Z entity and you needed a report from the hotels, yes. They've worked with other organizations before.
But the county gives you that information?
No, you would have to go and ask. You'd have to have a relationship with the hotelier to say, you know, we're asking for a block of rooms that are gonna be held, and then how many get utilized, that type of thing. Is how it's been done in other organizations.
I guess I don't get the point.
I'm wondering how you fill out the application.
You just make a guess.
Yes.
You know, does everybody just guess the
Yeah, you
number?
make a
Yes.
Yes.
Nobody knows and everybody
No,
guesses the
for a
number.
first time event, just to clarify, because you are right, you're saying, I don't know. I'll give you an example. The Society of Italian American Businessmen just did an Italian festival, first time out of the gate. I mean, they drew probably 20,000 people. They had, they didn't, it was like bunch of organizers put it together.
But they had a lot of money.
They had money because they went out and they raised sponsorship funding.
Yeah,
That's
because
what they
have
did.
people that have a lot of money.
Well, I mean, that's,
Let-
you know.
We're almost done.
Gordon, let me try to give a quick series. I've got a series of things that I'm sending to the county executive, you know, to get some of the money put on these projects. To give you an idea, when you're talking about these projects, I'll throw a few at you, okay? In Mariner Point Park, we're trying to get electric put into 2 pavilions there. It sounds pretty simple, but it's a $60,000 project to get lighting in the 2 person and get LED lights up in the ceiling, and they'll come on, plus electric in the pavilions. That's one thing. Down on Willoughby Beach Road, we've been trying to get a way to get down to Flying Point Park for not only citizens but tourism, because right now where the sidewalk's cut out and the woods comes in, that's 2 miles from there down to the Flying Point Park, and there's no way to get there except walking in the street. Or however you're gonna get down there, that's the only way. So we're trying to get Crusher Run and for both walking and bicycle trails all the way down there. It's 1 mile before you get to the turn, and it's almost another mile left before you get down. And I went down there last year for an event, and I'm driving down the street, and here comes a lady pushing her baby in a crib and walking her son, and she's in the middle of the street. That's pathetic. So we're trying to get, that's 200, she got the question. That's $200,000 to do that, okay? Harford Land Trust owns that land there on Willoughby Beach Road, just after you pass that church, after you pass the high school. I took Bob Castley there, and we toured that property, and we saw it's owned by Harford Land Trust, so it's already owned. That would make a great park, and it goes all the way down to the water, and right there, we could do just what they're doing in Havre de Grace and have a promenade all around the water on there. That's another one that we have. So that's the kind of events that you kind of look at and try to get money from the county, from the hotel tax, so that we have basically, if the bill passes next week, we have $130-some thousand to go after. We don't have the 340, but
Okay.
that may change.
All right, real quick,
This
if
is
you're gonna
quick.
do the questions, do them real quick, because we really have to move on.
Representative Guthrie, if we do come together and figure out some type of workshop so we can figure out the best way that we can come up with a strategic plan for the 3-year, 5-year plan for us to get money here, would you be willing to help us?
Oh, absolutely.
With, and actually promote some of the activities that we have so that we can actually get the funding and help us with providing the accurate information so that we can do that and link some of these things all together, so it's a strategic full plan to get the money.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Thank you for your
I'll be part of it, no problem.
All right, we thank you so much.
Well,
No, I think we should talk about this a little bit more. I don't know if we've done this.
So if you didn't get a handout, I'm gonna send it, but we've been focusing on tourism, but the projects that Councilman Guthrie just referenced, there are other grants out there for those. In addition to, I'm not saying, go one or the other, but apply for everything. Maryland, MEA just came out with new grant announcements for, offering nonprofits the ability for new construction in existing facilities to defray the cost of improvements resulting in energy performance that exceeds the current codes of standards. So like the lighting project that you're talking about, that would be one that would make sense there. The Crush and Run, in that packet, I highlighted some nonprofits to partner with, 755 Alliance, Route 40 Business Association, they're a 501c3, Joppatowne Lions Club, Edgewood Rec Council, the Joppa Development and Heritage Corp, Rotaries, churches, 501c3s can make that application for the betterment of the entire area. The Lower Susquehanna Heritage Greenway, to your point with the Crush and Run, that they have an application that's open now. The letter of intent has to be done by the end of January. That would be a great one to look at Crush and Run for. So
Where do we find that list and the dates?
So I put what I know of in this package, but
That's all the
it's-
grants?
No, that's all that I know about. Like, that's, you know, that's what I know about that I put in there. There isn't an entity that lists everything, so, thank you, bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We went way over on that,
Yeah.
but thanks.
I apologize,
We'll see you next month for part 2.
That's fine, I apologize I can't stay, please email me, I'm an hour and a half late for birthday dinner.
Hopefully it's not yours.
My suggestion is that we get together and get a group of people that wanna get together and form a committee that will talk about things we wanna do, and we'll get Dion to get in there. And, you know, for both areas, Joppatowne and Edgewood, and get everybody together and form a group, so.
Yeah, thank you.
That would be a great idea.
You need those nonprofit.
Yes.
Partner with the group that already
Alright, we're
exists.
gonna move on, and so now I'm gonna ask the rest of the presenters to please keep within the time restraints of 10 minutes.
Coming back to 5 minutes.
I know my gavel's not working tonight, but I'm trying. Alright, so, Cynthia, you are up.
Since Councilman Penman gave a full report, I don't have a lot to add to that, except that the public hearing for the zoning, the dwelling, will be on February 6th at 6:45 in the council chambers. That's on my handout.
Okay.
Also, I want to point out to you that when the next council meeting meets, we will also have the state of the county address and the legislative address at that meeting. So it's scheduled for tomorrow, but with the weather, I just want you to be aware that.
Yeah, and I know Cindy will be sent the thing out that it might be postponed tomorrow. Well,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Eric,
Tomorrow night's meeting is canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's canceled.
Yeah.
I said it in a meeting before I came down here with the president and Bob Cassidy on the cell phone. They said that the meeting tomorrow night's canceled. In fact, they're shutting the government down at 4 o'clock. Everybody's going home at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, the schools are closing 3 hours early tomorrow,
Closing
so.
3 hours early.
We can't hear if anybody's talking at the same time.
So when the next meeting is scheduled, then these two things will occur. Right.
Okay. Thank you, Cynthia. Lenore, that brings you up.
I'm up.
Yes.
Hold
Happy
on.
New Year to everyone.
Happy
New
Year.
Year. And from the county executive's office, excuse me.
Okay.
I hate those chairs.
Everybody does.
From the county executive's office, he hopes that everyone had a great Christmas, holidays, and whatever else you celebrated. And thank you, Councilman Dion, for making that announcement about the county executive's address that has been canceled due to inclement weather. So,
And just to touch on that for a second, because maybe she's not aware of it, but according to the information I got, they're gonna have a special meeting this Thursday for the county executive's address.
Okay.
Now, double check that, to make sure, but that's the information I got.
okay, then, I was
I'm
not.
not gonna wait till next Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of that, but thank you for sharing that information. Now that the holidays are over, Christmas trees, we want to get rid of the Christmas trees for recycling. And I have information here to hand out. I have a few flyers about different things I'm going to be talking about from the county executive. The county website is extremely important. It's an easy way to stay informed about the news, services, and any programs that the administration is providing. Here in Harford County, we've been running right into 2024 with nonstop information. There's a free recycling for your Christmas tree. Don't throw it out on the highways or 95. The new drop-off location in Joppa, where you can dispose of those trees, would be at 3135 Scarborough Road in Street. That's from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Tollgate drop-off site is at 703 North Tollgate Road in Bel Air. That's on Saturdays only from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Also, there is 808 Philadelphia Road in Joppa on Saturdays.
Leckers.
Like, okay, did you hear what she just told you for that information? 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're asking that you please remove all the lights, decorations, tinsel before dropping them off. Sometimes you do see trees that have been thrown out and they still have tinsel on them. So they're asking that you please be certain to remove that. Christmas lights and any other electronics, clothing, textile, and more can also be recycled for free at the Harford Waste Disposal Center. To learn more about this information, go to www.harfordrecycles.org. We spoke about the county address. We know that it has been postponed due to the inclement weather. What you need to know about the county budget. The county executive is extremely serious about his responsibility to us as taxpayers. He wants to use the money wisely and efficiently. He is developing a budget, which is a year. They can't out-talk me or tone down my volume for that, so thank you very much so for that. Want to be careful how everything is used in this economy that we are really getting into 2024. What are your priorities is what the county executive is asking about for the county budget. There will be a town hall meeting held January 23rd. I do not have the time. Oh, I'm wrong. It's 6 p.m. That's on a Tuesday. What matters most to you? We plan the next county budget, is what our county executive is saying. At the town hall meeting, the physical budget will be presented. It will be held at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, January 23rd in Darlington Hall on the campus of Harford Community College, and will be also broadcast on Harford TV. Your comments are welcome. Starting now on social media, you can do this by email or by mail. If you'd like to make a comment during the event, you can send it via email. For more information, please, once again, go to the county website for that information. Veterans are very important to the county executive. I have a program here, which I'm passing flyers to the board. If you would just circulate those for me, please. Harford County has a new rental assistance program for veterans and veterans household. I believe that there should never, ever be a homeless veteran, ever. But we do have veterans that are homeless. And if you know of someone that is a veteran that's homeless, this new program, which is called Rental Assistance for Veterans. This flyer is being passed around right now. We also have Ask the Question campaign to get the word out about this information. You may go to www.harfordcountymd.gov/veterans or call. I thought Bob Brown would be here, but he's not. But Bob Brown is the main contact for veterans if they need any type of help. His number is 410-638-1456. That's Bob Brown. We would like everyone to get a head start on signing up for the spring recreation programs. You can never start too early to sign up for that because we have a lot of different programs and things taking place here in Harford County. So we want you to stay active during not only the winter, but heading into the spring. There's a lot of programs being offered to the Department of Parks and Recreation. We want you to think about your health, your physical fitness, study the natural world in Harford County, and learn some new crafts as well. This is for all ages. Parks and Rec, you can go to the website once again. Going to the county website will keep you well informed. If you need any type of help, please don't hesitate to go to the website. You can put in different types of question in the rectangular box. You can put in that question and your information will come to you. If you need clarification, don't be afraid to ask. Just in case Harford County snowplow during the snow months, or snowstorms rather, you can track the location of our county snowplows with the Harford County Snowplow Tracker. We haven't had any snow thus far. Hopefully we don't get any. However, but you can track that information. I reiterate, utilize our county website. The transparency is there for you. Ask your question. Your county executive is here to help each and every one of us. Once again, www.harfordcountymd, like Mary and David.gov. Enjoy the remainder of this week and stay safe. If you have an umbrella, don't use it tomorrow, just stay home. Yes.
You didn't, pass, do you have a flyer for, you said the recreation?
No, there is no flyer for that, but if you go to the website that I just gave, you'll be able to get the information. The hazard waste, I only had a few of these flyers. If someone would like to have this extra one that I have here. I know that people are taking down their Christmas decorations. I just took mine down from the office. I had Christmas at the office, but not at my house.
So I'm actually on the website. So where do I go?
Look in the upper right-hand corner. There should be a cream color rectangular box. Put your question in there, and the answer should be visible for you at that time.
Okay.
If you don't find it, you may call me at 410-638. I think you have my contact information,
Yeah, I do.
Ms. Jones. If you don't find what you're looking for, just call me. I'm in housing.
I'm Juanita.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Jones. But in either case, you do have my contact information if you have other information that you like to, other information you cannot find or whatever you're looking for. I just got a signal from one of my coaches in the audience here to cut it. Any other questions? Thank you.
No, we're done. See you after the meeting.
But seriously, because Casserly said on TV, he was on TV about he's taking this Christmas tree recycling thing.
I tell you what we'll do.
But you didn't mention about, he said there was free mulch. Did he cancel that because you didn't mention it?
I didn't mention it, that didn't come up at this time, but I tell you what, any other questions that you would like to address for the county executive, please send them to me. My information is available, okay, for the board here for that, but we want to get home before Tuesday morning, okay? So enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Mulch is free.
All the good things that we're passing out, that the health survey is up here. So before you go, everybody take one and fill out the health survey, because, you know, for those of us in Joppa, I'd like to see an express care or something in the Joppa area too, so be sure you take these. All right, Ron, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening.
We're glad you're back.
Well, I apologize. Last month I had COVID, decided to hit me the second time. So I apologize for that. Tonight, our fire department decided to switch their meetings to the second Monday night, and since you all switched to this because of the New Year, so that's why I'm back now. I'm nice and healthy. Got a lot of information for you. I didn't bring any handouts tonight. Just going to give you some quick information, and I hope I'm not going to steal any much of Jim's thunder. I sent him a bunch of information for the meeting in case I didn't make it. Just to let you know, our EMS system right now is very strapped. Okay? Right now, in Region 3, which covers everywhere from Anne Arundel County out here to Harford County, every single hospital is on red and yellow alert. What that means is very few or no beds. Now, Upper Chesapeake up here has been on bypass for over an hour and a half now. Bypass means you can't even stop there. They can't take any patients there, regardless of how sick they are. So they're going to go to the next two hospitals. The next closest hospital is St. Agnes, is also been on over 2 hours on bypass. Which means you cannot take any patients there. There's 2 hospitals that are not on alert right now.
Is it COVID? What is it?
Johns Hopkins Pediatric and fortunately shock trauma. Now, that being said, talk about some fire statistics. So far this year.
Wait, what's the cause?
What's that?
Why are they so overwhelmed? Is it
Why they're overwhelmed? We don't have enough beds and enough staff in the hospitals to get it done.
Or what is the cause? COVID?
Most of right now is your respiratory problem.
Yeah.
Your respiratory distress problem. There's a stomach virus going around. It's going on schools. I substitute in the school system. I've been there since December. Well, constantly. I'm only there a couple of days a week. But I've been there for every week in December, and now I've been there every day this year. And of course, if you haven't already heard, if you've been under the rock, the schools are letting out tomorrow 3 hours early because of the storm coming. This year so far in the state of Maryland, we've had 13 dwelling fires. 6 of those, guess what they were caused by? You're never gonna guess in a million years what they were caused by.
Fire.
Space heaters.
What's that?
Space heaters.
Nope.
Fire.
All the strips.
Nope.
No, those
What's that?
Heat.
Nope.
those
Flames.
Combustion.
Those
Combusted
toys and
heat.
stuff you said don't. The scooters and
Well,
stuff
not
you
yet.
said don't
Not
plug
yet.
in.
Lithium batteries.
Cooking?
Discarded smoking material.
I said it, I said it.
You know, discarded smoking materials and or fireplace material where you're not discarding properly.
Burns me up.
Okay, 6 of fires. So far this year, loss of damages is $533,000. We're only 8 days into the new year. Okay. Check your smoke alarms. Of course, they had one up in Cecil County where the little girl passed away. They had no working smoke alarms. Okay, there is no excuse right now in Harford, Cecil County when you do not have working smoke alarms in your house. There is no excuse. We put them in for free. December 16th, we had a group go out to the West Shore and waterfront area. We went to 187 houses and knocked on doors. We put in 15 smoke alarms. 15. Those houses are just hitting about 20 years old. As far as I know, there are only 3 that had no working smoke alarms at all. And we're going to be doing this throughout the year. We're supposed to be doing one next week, but I'm not going to do it with this cold weather and the way the weather's been. We're going to hold up till there's better weather. The other things I want to talk about real quick. How common are house fires? 50% of house fires result by kitchen fires, leaving food unattended. Most of the calls we're getting today, in the last, well, I'm not going to say last week, it's been more than the last few weeks, was unattended cooking on your stoves. Do not put anything on your stove and leave it unattended. I don't know how many times we got to say this and how many times we talk about it. And every one of them, we had one today, earlier this afternoon, where there was a lady smoke alarm going for 20 minutes. Why they waited 20 minutes to call us, I don't know. They called us, but the neighbor called. Nobody was home. Pot of food on the stove. Somebody went out, left the stove on, pot of food. I can't tell you enough, do not leave cooking unattended in your stove or in your oven. If you're gonna leave the house, shut it off. Take it off the burner. Okay, the other one I want to talk about, which is really interesting, which is the new 6% of fires are resulted in chimney fires. Now I know of 3 this year in Harford County we've had chimney fires. Make sure your chimneys are clean. Every few years you need to get them clean. Get somebody in there. Costs about $100 to get somebody to go up there and clean your chimney. What happens is the soot builds up in the top. You don't see it. But when you get a nice hot fire in there and the sparks start flying, catches fire. Next thing you got flames come out your chimney. Now you've got us coming down, and now we've got to come down to push that stuff down the chimney. I mean, even Santa Claus couldn't get down some of these chimneys. So you want to make sure that your chimneys are clean. Working smoke alarms. Be careful with space. I know you were talking about space heaters. Yeah, you do be careful with space heaters. Keep at least a 3-foot distance around anything that produces heat. And I can't find the picture now, but I got some yesterday from a space heater pot from a fire in a dwelling in Cecil County. Someone had one of those power strips I've talked about before. Those of you who've been here before have talked about it. They had a space heater plugged in, a coffee pot and an iron. Guess what happened?
Yep.
You'll never guess.
Fire.
Man, you guys are smart. Yes, it caused a fire. $120,000 damage to the house. Do not use these power strips to plug in high powered utensils, space heaters. Plug them directly into the wall. Same thing with an iron, same thing with the coffee pots. Do not plug them into cords. Yes?
Talk about gas fire logs. Do you have to clean your chimney with those also?
Most of them are vented directly out, usually right above it.
Right.
I would have it checked, periodically. Usually they won't clog. And I'm gonna say usually because as soon as I say that, there's gonna be a fire with one clog. There's always a possibility.
Thank you.
Carbon
Your
monoxide.
gas fireplace, you wanna have it checked.
Carbon monoxide is more of a risk.
Because you wanna have it checked because you don't know if maybe there's leak or maybe something has come loose over the times you've been using it. Okay, I had a gas fireplace when I lived in Joppatowne. Greatest thing I ever had. But you gotta do have a check. What was your question?
No, I was saying, I'd be more worried about carbon monoxide with a gas fireplace. If something got in there and built a nest like bees or something,
Yeah.
you could get backflow into the house.
And that was the other thing I was gonna talk about, my last thing, is carbon monoxide. If you're burning any fossil fuels in your house, whether it be a fireplace or stove, if it's gas, wood pellet, wood stove, gas fireplace, you should have a CO detector in the house. The CO detector should be on the first level, no more than 24 inches from the floor. Don't get the combined ones from the ceiling. If CO gets that high, you're not gonna hear it go up, you're already dead, so. If you're sound asleep, you're not gonna hear it, so, and that's gonna be the cause of your death, so. If your CO detectors, make sure they're about the same height as most outlets. Most outlets are 18 to 24 inches from the floor. That's where you want those, so it goes off as soon as it detects something. Remember, anything fossil fuel, wood, pellets, anything like that, a gas stove, even if you have a gas stove or gas oven, you should have a CO detector in your house. Believe me, these things save lives. I can't tell you enough how many lives have been saved by having these items in your house.
I do have a question.
You have a question here?
Yes, more or less a comment. When you guys made it to West Shore neighborhood.
Yes.
I do sit on that HOA board. We were unaware that anybody was coming. So that's why we have a turnout of only 15 people allowing you in the house.
What we did, one thing we did do was we put hang tags on all the doors. Anybody that didn't answer, we put a hang tag in with a phone number to call, and it's a Red Cross phone number. You call that number, they will put a list together, send it to myself and my group. We'll put together a time and date and come out and come back.
Okay.
We will come out, and we're never gonna ignore you.
No.
But we did
it's
put
not like
hang
that.
tags
Yeah.
in close to over 187 houses.
Yeah.
I don't know how many houses are over that. I think we hit about 90%.
We have 180, but that's unacceptable for y'all time. If we know in advance, but like you said, we'll do
Well,
it now.
supposedly was put out by the county, and yes, you're correct, it is unacceptable, however, that's what we do. We're out here to save lives, and that's my
We have another
priority.
question.
Yes,
I have a question. How do you identify the communities that you focus your free
smoke alarms?
smoke alarms
Okay,
on?
the Harford Cable TV, everybody will get on there, we have an ad on there periodically, that we give you that free smoke alarms.
Who has cable anymore?
I'm on board with the directors of Harford TV, so we get an ad out there periodically, we do put different things out there. It's also on the county website, it should be, I believe it is, I know it's been put up once before. But whenever we go to I go to these meetings all over the place, Jim goes to them, we talk about it, we give out free 10-year battery smoke alarms.
So if we
They're
wanted to,
sealed.
should we just apply, so we could go on the website and?
You go on that, or I'll
and
leave my
suggest
card to you, you can call me,
our
and we
community?
can set up a time. Now, let me tell you one thing, something we found in West Shore. Somebody had just bought a nice home there. I went in, they wanted to check the smoke alarms. I don't know how they sold it, there's any realtors in here? I'm gonna embarrass them if they are. Okay. Somebody sold this house, both realtors, the seller and the buyer, sold this house, and the hardwired smoke alarms that came with that building were taken out, and battery operated ones put in the space where these wires were. How did I know this? Because I went in and I saw what was there. I know when those buildings were built, I was living here when they were built, and I know what's in there. The hardwired ones communicate with each other. If one goes off, they'll go off throughout the house. Unfortunately, our battery operated ones don't necessarily do that, unless the smoke hits them. But they had done, it was 6 alarms, were all covered up with 10-year battery smoke alarms. Now, in Maryland, I'm saying Maryland in 2012, that is illegal. You cannot sell a home without that originally have hardwired smoke alarms in it, without those hardwired smoke alarms, without a 10-year battery backup. You cannot sell them as of 2016, I think it was, in Maryland. So there's 2 realtors that are gonna be put over the coals because I've reported to the fire marshal, I gave them the address, and they'll look into see who the realtors were. Okay, you cannot sell a house in Maryland without updated smoke alarms. Smoke alarms are good for about 10 years, no more. Okay, so did I answer questions? I know it took up more time, but I haven't been here. Is there any other questions that I can answer? Yes, ma'am.
Does Harford County, EMS offer free, CPR classes?
Harford County does not. Not free ones. The Red Cross does periodically. If you contact the Red Cross down on Hope Drive down in Baltimore, and I don't have a number handy, but you can contact them. They do give classes periodically. The ones that we do are strictly for firefighters and, EMS type personnel. It's a little more advanced than what the average person gets. It's a little more, it's called a heart saver. CPR. We go to a little more because we're out, we can use oxygen and bag valve masks and things like this. Now, I do know somebody in Harford County that does do these things, but it's a fee for it. It's not free. And we'll give out and do the CPR for them. Yes.
Thank you, Ryan.
When you get them, you can get them for carbon monoxide and natural gas. So if you have a gas line, it'll take care of
That's
both.
something new, that is good.
Okay.
But if, I will leave cards here, I'm gonna be, I'll take the rest of the meeting, yeah.
Okay. Alright, just real quick,
Any other questions?
before we get to you, Rob, do you have anything, I know you came to listen to anything you want to report?
Came to listen tonight, we're still working on some of the issues that we heard last time we were here, and I will mention that they're trying to reconstitute or re-up the Edgewood Rec Council. And there's upcoming elections for that you need to be aware of if anybody's interested in working with youth and developing some programs there at Edgewood.
You might need one.
And where's information?
Edgewood Recreation, or Edgewood, go on the Harford County website, go to Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
And the Edgewood Recreation Center here you got right at Brookside, you can go in there and speak with Devon. He would have the information for you as well.
Do you know when the elections will be?
Jonathan, do you know, is it March or April?
It is March 26th, I think.
Okay.
Can I, say something? So I've actually went to the Edgewood Rec before, and I noticed like a lot of, programs that they offer, are at like a cost. So when you have like a family, like a low income family that may have like 5 or 6 kids, and when you see programs that says $75 per person, does Harford County offer, Parks and Recs offer like any type of like programming that could be like discounted or potentially free for the youth that are running around out here with no clue on what to do? Because you have families that cannot afford to send kids to programs when they got 6 and 7 children.
Right.
So is there anything, like I would want to be a part of an organization that is about developing and bringing up kids rather than seeing how much money we can pull from a household that really doesn't have the money. And that's why you see a lot of kids running around out here, because parents don't have the money to send their kids somewhere to be productive. So that's what I'm asking, is it something like that is gonna be happening at the rec center?
Let me get your name and number and I'll
Okay.
get back to you on that after I speak with Parks and Rec.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Dion, you're up.
Dion?
And just so that you know, we really want to get out of here before 9 o'clock tonight, and we still have a few more things to cover, so.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
He's good.
I got you.
Just thought
I
I'd
got a
let
lot
you
of
know.
my other stuff in early, so
Okay.
I'm okay.
Duck down a
Couple
little.
things, we got, what, duck down a little?
Yeah. All right, I'll figure it out.
Staying like this.
That's good for your core.
That's good for my colon, but he took 10 inches of that, so I can't even take care of that.
I'm moving back.
Anyway, listen, I want to introduce, we got some, a couple of new people here that never been to the meeting before. Chuck, from Edgewood, they're from the, Laurel's, is it Laurel's?
Homeowners Association.
Homeowners Association, and,
Way in Edgewood.
and Miss Smith, I don't want to forget Miss Smith, way over there in the corner, she thinks she's hiding, but she got no chance. And, I met with them last, Thursday over at the Edgewood Library because they had a, complaint about a problem that they're having, and there's 16 houses that are involved in this area, and they have a stormwater management facility there that when a lot of people there bought their houses, had no idea that they were responsible for taking care of that. So they had somebody from the county there, Dave, what was Dave's last name? Jazz card?
Dave Butler.
Dave Butler from the county, trying to figure out how we can work something out because the bottom line, they're responsible. Now we gotta figure a way to get it worked out because a lot of them had no idea they were responsible for this. And so the thing hasn't been taken care of, so now it's a mess. So the estimate, one estimate that we have to get it taken care of is like $118,000. And now if you go to 16 homes, gonna split up, that 118 is a lot of money, okay?
You're welcome to our meeting.
And, but we do have they did get an estimate from a contractor, we're gonna see if we can work that out, about 52,000, but I've already had several meetings with the contractors, talking about my union days, with County Executive, Cashley, and he signed, Larry involved in it, which I've had several conversations with him, and we're trying to work something out where we might be able to get somebody, to get some contractors to bid on it that are recognized by the county, rather than the county do it, because the county does it, it's gonna cost a lot of money. It's gonna cost twice what it needs to be done. So we're trying to get that done and then see how far we can space the payments out to the 16 homes and do it interest-free. So we're working on that. Hopefully I can get that put together for you in the next couple of weeks. Also, Oasis Marina's here. We want to welcome them here. And of course, they're here. Lady back there. Just gonna stand up, please, and let everybody know who you are.
Hey y'all, I'm Paula, and I'm
Another
the
Paula.
interim general
Oh, God.
manager at Gunpowder. And I have Link with me as well.
And of course, their interest is, and it's our interest too, if everybody probably knows it, because in the last newsletter I had a lot of information in it. They're going to be replacing all the railroad bridges from Baltimore all the way to New York. The cost is going to be in the billions of dollars to replace all these bridges. The one on the estimate to replace the Gunpowder River Bridge is $30 million just to replace the one bridge. The bridge over Bush River, $20 million, which I don't know why it's $10 million less, and what the difference is. But our push is, and I've already had a meeting with Chris Van Hollen, Senator, and I've got scheduled a meeting with Ben Cardin, and I also already talked to Dutch Ruppersberger. So remember those three names, because they're the people. They're the people you need to talk to. They're the people you need to contact. You need to email. You need to phone call them. Forget about everybody else down the line, because it's a federal project, and you need these federal senators and these federal congressmen to get on that, because we need to get that bridge raised. And this will be the last chance in anybody's lifetime in the world to get these raised, because that bridges are 120 years old. And you know, 120 years ago, they didn't have very many big boats going underneath them bridges, and the tall ships could never get under there anymore. So, so we're working on that. We understand they're going to raise the Bush River Bridge because the Bush River Bridge has always opened.
Right.
In the summertime, it opens Friday and twice Saturday and once Sunday. But it's a lot of work to open it. It takes a dozen or so people out there. You see them, they got to actually take up the track, you know, and move the track every time they do this, and then so the bridge can open. And they open from Labor Day to Memorial Day, 4 times a week. The cost back then, I'm sure it's a lot more now, but it was $5,000 an opening. So there's $20,000 a weekend being paid or spent just to open and close that bridge. The Rumsey Island Bridge used to open, but they got it welded shut before anybody realized that they did that. And then the Bush River people found out that they snuck in and welded the Gunpowder River Bridge, and they stopped them from welding the Gunpowder River Bridge. So that's why that still opens. So that's probably why they're going to raise that one, or they plan that to raise that one, because they don't want to open that bridge anymore. You know, so we're trying to do the same thing here. And my conversations with Chris Van Hollen and Ben Carden have been the same thing. They don't understand it either. Why the Gunpowder River Bridge isn't going to raise also. And I told them about the Oasis Marina, and I said they can't go to a full marine facility because they can't offer a big enough boats, you know, that'll go under the bridge. So we're happy about that. Talking about a few other things. You know what? One thing Visit Harford didn't tell you, okay? She was at the meeting, so she knows what she's talking about. She was at the meeting that we had in the council chambers, and which Pat Vicente set up, and myself. The two of us were only people from the council there. We invited anybody who wanted to talk about the hotel tax bill, and of course they came. And at the time, they were opposed to our bill, much less the amendments. They were opposed to the bill.
Both of the two was up there.
And I thought, well, I don't know about the. I know the fellow. I know he.
I remember that.
But I was going a little more with information about that. But they were opposed to it, and I thought, well, maybe they're opposed to it because they really want to make sure they're still getting the money, you know, in to take care of all the people that are going to get money from them for their projects. Okay, well, then I found out, well, I'm going to try to do a little mini audit. I did a little mini audit, you know, and found out they don't have to raise any money. Okay, they get money from the hotel tax. They get an X number. The county executive, he's the last guy. He approves it all. So no matter how many of these meetings you have and what you want to talk about, you know, he's the veto guy. He's the approval and the veto. Even though there's a committee that you send all this stuff to, they send the recommendations. Bottom line is, you got to play with it. You got to play with the deck that's dealt you, the cards that are dealt you, and he's the guy. So you got to make him convinced about your project. So that's what I'm doing. But one thing when I got my our auditors go over, they said, and this is right off the auditor's write-up. She says, the board usually are free volunteers. There are 4 staff members. So the $191,590 in salaries, okay, are paid to him and 4 people on the, not the other lady, she wouldn't get paid either. There's the 4 people on the committee, and they get about $20,000 apiece, thereabouts. And I don't know how that's done. I'm going to find it out. You know, for getting $600,000 or $700,000 and or $800,000, and you're paying almost $200,000 out of that for salaries. Where's all the rest of the money? You know, where's it going? So, and you're there, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to give you that information. Now, you all got, one thing about the Parks and Recs, I met with them earlier this spring about the Mariner Point Park.
Time's up.
My time's up already. You got extended real quick.
No, ramble on.
And I talked to them about, we needed repave all the areas, all the driveways and the parking lots, all in the Mariner Point Park, and they did that. We set it up. They did it this fall. They repaved. They did all the curb demolition and on the 20th, on the 29th, they did all the parking lots on the December 4th to the 8th. They did all the boat ramps and everything. It's all repaved. The December 11th to the 31st, they repaved all the drive lanes and the parking lots on 1 and 2. So that's all completed. I hope you've all seen it. And let me try to get through this real quick because I've only tabbed a few. On page 2 of this, you'll get a complete write-up from the newspaper about the Harford County debate on the hotel tax. They wrote an article in the Aegis. This is the article all about the hotel tax, 2-page article. Talk about the Susquehanna River project. That bridge goes across the Susquehanna River. It's going to cost over $1 billion just to do that one bridge, that bridge alone. And the biggie, the community center, there's 4 or 5 pages in there that show the color or the drawings, or not exactly drawings, but where the community center is going to go into Joppatowne.
We sent that out.
Hmm?
We sent that out.
I know you did. And there was a little confusion because there's confusion over this. They thought that because they have this is another project we were working on, but this one was in abeyance, and I didn't want to say anything about this until I knew Harford Land Trust bought the property, and finally they did. So they bought 127.4 acres up off Trumbull Road, and that's going to be a big park for the Joppatowne area. It's going to be fields and ball fields and a park all to its own. But that's in the future. That's going to take a few years to get done. This is the community center is going to be a shovel in the ground this year. So we hope to get done.
Where's that going to be?
Pardon?
Where's that going to be?
As you got newsletter?
No, I don't have it.
Well, look at it. In the newsletter.
Next to the high
Give
school.
him a newsletter.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
No, here, you need a newsletter. No, don't go over
It's in there
that.
next to the high school.
Give me a card.
All right, Ralph.
Also very important for everybody.
You're the chair.
And this is Ralph.
You want me
this
to
is for
tackle
you,
him?
okay?
I don't care, you're done.
On page 12.
Stop.
The
I don't wanna
Maryland
hear it.
Department on the Environment, 6 pages on everything to do with Risley Reserve. You get a chance to read that.
Dion, they're
And that's it.
actively asking me to tackle you.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm sorry, it took
No, don't tackle me. I'm gonna go.
that's why I do a newsletter, because I can't get it all out.
Right, so just give the newsletter out, and give your 10 minutes.
Shut up.
I get it.
I don't have any questions about what's in the newsletter. Thank you so much, Dion.
You have a question?
I did email Jansen earlier today, and I just had 2 announcements from the Harford County Health Department that are really important for me to make.
Yeah, and, so go ahead and do that now before we finish up the rest of the reports.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The tobacco cessation, my name is Felicia Hopkins, for everyone that
Hey,
doesn't
you
know that.
stand up, they'll be able to get you up here.
I don't wanna take up too much time because it's almost 9. So I'm gonna go through this really fast, and if there's any groups here that this applies to, you can just, I'll give you my information and you can come to me and ask me about it, and I'll give you information. So I met with Tobacco Cessation today at the Harford County Health Department, and they have partnered with the Sheriff's Department, and they do checks for every food-based store that sells cigarettes or vapes or any tobacco products. They go in with their cadets and they check to make sure that they're complying under the under 21 program, for those that are with the Sheriff's Department that are here that know that program. But what they also have to do is, whether they're in compliance or not in compliance, they also need a group of people to go out and begin to do those checks behind them. So they've earmarked a certain amount of money to pay individual groups, non-government groups, to be able to go into facilities like maybe it's a 7-Eleven, let me see here. Wawa's, any licensed vendor, to make sure that they're in compliance and give them a little education. So if you are a non-government group, a nonprofit, they will fund you to be able to get some training, to be able to go inside of these facilities and give them a little education. And you have to fill out a form, fill out a 440 to be able to get that work done. So if you're interested in that, I'm helping to find other groups besides one of the other fraternities in the area that will be able, that are already doing this. They've been doing it for years, but they need more help because they've gotten more funding for this project. The last thing, any questions about that?
Yes. Can it be an organization or?
It has to be an organization that has an EIN or nonprofit. It can't just be, you know, a group of your friends, you know, want to come together and do it, or a church. It could be a church, but you have to be able to, when they look under the Maryland business, what is it, the Maryland business website? They have to make sure that you're in good standing. Okay, so they're not going to just hand off money to anyone to do this. And also, yes.
Are you looking for just kids?
No, we're not looking for kids. We're looking 18 and up. You know, 18 and up. It's not so, I don't want to oversimplify this. It is a serious job that they need to have done. However, the method on what you would have to do is pretty easy. And but it has to be under the umbrella of a nonprofit or non-government agencies. Is that clear? Okay. The last thing I'm going to, I don't have a lot of these forms, but you might have seen this circulated around. We're going to have our third community conversations, which was created. I help facilitate the program, but Moms of Murdered Sons and Daughters, Moms of Demand Action, Cares Community, and a couple other organizations, the health department, we have been meeting monthly. The first one was November 10th. It was very well attended at Edgewood Epic Center. They're talking about, we're sounding alarm. It is time to talk about the uptick of gun violence and violence in our communities. And that is, so please join Ms. Daphne Alstein and other members of the community in this conversation. The first one, we had Eric Roby there, and he gave us some information. We had pastors there. We had community-based organizations there. The second one was online. And as a direct result of us streaming from 6 different platforms online, I met Miss Carmen and her group that did not hear about what we are doing here in Harford County. So again, we are in these silos and we know what we're doing, but now when you're on social media, we're reaching more people. And so our call to action will be a part of what we'll be talking about this Friday. So if you want a flyer, it is absolutely free. There's childcare provided, and it will be at the Edgewood Epic Center this Friday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a representative from Andre's office here tonight?
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. What, Steve Johnson? No.
Nope.
I think it's here, okay. All right, so from the council, Adam?
Okay. So I'm a little sleep deprived because we're in the midst of the shelter right now. The homeless shelter is going on. Joppatowne is hosting right now. We're gonna go through till at least Friday. There are only 2 churches currently signed up right now. Joppatowne Christian Church is hosting, but it's just in our building. All of Joppatowne and Edgewood, and lots of people from around the county have helped pitch in. And then there's next week there's no church. I hope we're putting people up in hotels. The week after that is Mount Zion up in Bel Air, and then Joppatowne is going to take another rotation February 10th to the 17th. But aside from this week, February 10th to the 17th, and then 2 weeks from now, there are no other churches who volunteered to host the rotating shelter this year. So we're hoping, again, motels. But if you know of organizations that are willing to do that, we need to try to get back to what we had before COVID.
Right.
COVID messed some stuff up, and we're going to be trying to build a better and stronger effort going into the future for the homeless shelter. If you want to get involved in the Joppatowne effort, there's still plenty of time to do that, especially in the February week. That's gonna be at joppatowne.church/shelter. All the signups are there. There is a small chance, well, it used to be a big chance, but I think we're probably leaning away from it. We were thinking about taking a whole new week next week, but that's quite an undertaking for those of us who have to be there and stay overnight. Yes. Also, I did, Ron, one of your disciples asked me to pass on that you're supposed to sleep with your doors closed because fires can get in there. So, person who asked to remain nameless, there you go. Other than that, I think that's all. Just shelter right now because my brain is not working well. What's up?
2 quick questions. Roughly how many are you getting in the shelter at night?
Right now, tonight, it looks like we're gonna have 13, which is smaller than we thought. Although part of it is we're hearing some people don't want to move away from their encampment just to come into a church building for a week, then get moved out for a week, then get back into a church building for a week, and then back out. So
They might think about that tomorrow.
Do you know if any of them are vets by any chance, or you don't know?
Any of them what?
We have had some vets. I'm not sure if any in the shelter right now are, but I know that there are people who are sleeping in the woods who are vets. And the people who are better at street outreach and stuff like that, they have identified those people and connected them with the VA as well.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
So do y'all work with Catholic charities?
For the Joppatowne effort, we work directly under the Harford County Hope for the Homeless Alliance. So any relationships that the entire alliance has, that's above my pay grade. For the Joppatowne effort, we will take help from anybody.
No, because I did when I was in school. I did street outreach in the city. Through Catholic charities. So.
Yeah, I know that there are several groups. Revive Us Ministries does street outreach. The Harford County Harford Community Action Agency does street outreach. I'm not aware of Catholic charities doing street outreach up here in Harford County, but
well, I don't think that they reach Harford County.
Okay.
I think that it's
well then
like
we're a Harford County shelter, so yeah, that's what we're doing.
Adam, I wanted to just ask real quick, if other churches want to be a part of it, is it too late for them?
It's not too late. It's a big undertaking, so it probably would be something where they'd be tacking on maybe starting February 17th to give a little bit of consistency. And just so you know, for the Joppatowne effort at least, you can come hang out, just play some board games with some people, talk to people. You can make meals, you can drop off dinner, lunches. You can provide transportation. We've had to do all of this year. Usually some of this is taken care of, but transportation, we've been meeting people at Redner's at 5 p.m. and then just bringing them over to the church building, and then at 8 a.m. taking them to bus stops around the community. So there's big jobs and then there are little jobs. So if anybody wants to be involved, you are more than welcome to do that. Okay.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Jansen?
So just briefly, if you notice, there was a common thread associated with all of the information that we received tonight. It was the Harford County website. And I know that there are a lot of folks who don't have it, but for those of us who do have it, we should be accessing that website and sharing that information. Saying that we do not have access to the internet, it's an issue, but there are those of us who do, because there's a lot of information that was shared here tonight that members of our community could be benefiting from, and we need to make sure that if they don't have access to the internet, those of us who do, we need to share that with them. That's it.
Well, there are a lot of organizations that people don't hear about. Of course, like Xfinity offers internet for $9.95 a month. You can go to any library and get a Chromebook on Wednesdays, absolutely free. You have pretty much on
right.
I'm not gonna say on every corner, but I know on pretty much every corner you see someone says free phone, free tablet. So it is resources out here that will actually provide the information, but also you have to be able to allow people, you have to teach people how to use it. Like, I have a grandmother that's 87 that refuses to click over when someone calls her.
That's
Like,
why
you
I
have
say.
to keep calling.
Yeah. That's why I
and she
say those of
refused
us
to
who,
answer.
that's why I say those of us who do, we need to share that information. Whatever that information is, whether it's how to get access to website or information from the website. So yeah, so like when you just gave an example, your grandmother, who's 85, what you do is you share information with her. So that's that's what I'm talking about doing. So in this.
Well, she's a
Okay.
different case.
Right, you can verbally share the
That's exactly
information.
right, that's exactly right.
Jim?
Just as quick as I can, but remind everybody about grandkids and all lithium-ion toys, charged batteries. Please unplug them at night. Don't go to bed with them plugged in, please. All right? We haven't had the calls around here. I mentioned about the hospital. The Aberdeen facility is not a hospital. Aberdeen facility is designed to be a 48-hour facility, and then they'll transport you to Upper Chesapeake. That's the game plan. But as you heard Ron say, with red and yellow alerts, beds aren't available. So dialing 911 is not gonna get you into the hospital. It may get you into the waiting room for up to 8 or 9 hours. All depends how sick you are.
Yes.
All right? The other thing, Joppa in the last 3 months had 1,443 ambulance runs. That's about 5 a day, 15 a day. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're taking about 2 hours on average, the time you pick the patient up, get them to the hospital, and get back in service again, you can just multiply that out, all right? We're averaging for the last 90 days, 515 fire runs, engines, trucks, and I'll note that our rescue engine that had the accident on Hanson Road up at the middle of December already had 85 runs for that 90 days. So we're on 95 at least once a day, and plus the other accidents that go on in the area. So
I hear that'll be done by 2065.
Does Harford County offer something cause someone may have like a cold without 911 to go to the hospital, to go in the ambulance. So does Harford County offer something for non-emergencies for people that may not have a car to get to the hospital, so they're gonna call 911?
I can tell you, I argued that up to 30 years ago, and struck out every time. The doctors won't support you, and the Maryland medical emergency system won't support it. If you stub your toe, or just a cold or sniffle, and you dial 911 for an ambulance, they're coming to your house and they'll take you to the hospital. Now the hospital will then decide you're not a real emergency. Go have a chair over there and we'll get you when we have time.
Yeah, like 15 hours.
Jim, did you tell them when the hospital's closing, February 6th?
Yeah, and February, we did mention, but February 6th, Harford Memorial's closed, which takes another bunch of beds away from us. And the facility in Aberdeen, which I happened to have my wife there about 2 weeks ago for a checkup and a physician's assistant. Man, quite a facility, but it's designed for 48 hours.
30 beds.
Yep, and limited number of beds. So I
That's
don't know
the new
how
one?
they're cutting back when they're.
Is that the new one that just opened?
Yeah.
I toured that,
Yeah.
it's quite a facility.
Anyway, and we keep adding houses and apartments to the county and keep adding bodies, but we're not doing, University of Maryland's not expanding.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
All right, I'm talking trash tonight. The solid waste management plan is coming up this year. Now, those of us who've been around a long time remember the transfer station at Pleckers. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Pleckers? Well, that's where
Still got my
the
sign.
Christmas trees are being recycled right now. There's a survey out online on the county website, and one of the question is, where would you like to see something in southern Harford County, Joppa, Edgewood area for trash? So I filled out the form and I said, we've fought Pleckers before, don't put it there.
Right. We
So-
shut down the incinerator plant, throw that in there, you know?
Yeah, I remember that too.
Shut
yeah.
that down.
So, go online, look for the survey, solid waste management plan. It's done every 10 years, and they want trash down here.
I want trash down here because I don't want to drive to Darlington to get rid of my stuff.
Well, don't put it in rural Joppa.
Right.
Put it somewhere. If we put it in my own backyard, I'll make less
I
of
don't
it.
know,
Go ahead.
it's a problem, trash, I mean, people have a lot of
Get a
trash.
Get a Balmer County
know
license
what
and you
to
can go
do with
right
it,
across
but-
the border.
Two things real quick. Hang on, just 1 second. Two things real quick. At last meeting, somebody asked if there was a contact, if they had trouble with BG&E. And Debbie Button did send me some information. I have it up here if you wanna take a look. It's got the lady's name and phone number if you're having trouble with BG&E and whatever issues you have. And then my question is, going into the new year, who would you like to have come out and speak to us in our meetings? Give me some ideas on who you'd like to have come out.
It sounds like we have a lot of discussion to have amongst each other. I would like to propose that soon we have a meeting where we don't have a guest speaker and maybe have a little bit of a community dialogue.
You wanna do that next month?
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. All in favor, anybody have any discussion? How about if we do that next month where we talk about, community issues and projects we wanna put together, and would that be okay with everybody? Yeah.
Good idea.
Okay, so that's the next month.
Is that?
Can we at least get flyers though, cause what I was gonna suggest next month, I just spoke with them Friday, the Harford County Board of Elections, cause they're gonna start their training, it's paid training in February, cause they pay $25 an hour for people to work with the elections. So I was hoping we could get that out to
Lenore,
people.
do you know if we can get flyers for that? Beg your pardon? Do you know if we can get flyers from the, Board of Elections?
They have little gift bags made
The
up.
training you're talking about, yes, I can contact them tomorrow morning and I'll send it to you and you can circulate it.
All right, how about that?
The Board of Elections will do a training and they'll actually
Right,
come here.
they'll come out and show you how to do that, but,
Yeah, they will do that.
They'll come right here and
Brown-
train you.
yeah,
Anybody
Mr.
wants to get
Brown
trained.
used to do
right,
that.
and we can do that, but.
When's our election?
May 24th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
May
so we
is
have-
the primary, and of course, the general is
So we have
October.
time, so next month, let's do a.
Well, I don't know.
meeting.
Well, yeah, because they're doing the actual training, cause you have to go to an information session, then they're starting the training next month, and the thing is, they have some jobs, like they've gotta get the machines out and all ready and check them and stuff.
All right, well, Lenore's gonna
Yeah.
get us a flyer, and we'll get them out.
It's
I'll see
getting
that you
late.
get, I'll see that you get the information, but that is accurate information that you're sharing right now. The gentleman that used to be at the Board of Elections, did the training was Mr. Brown. I don't know if he's still there or not, but I'll see that that information gets to you, Paul.
And we'll get it out right away.
I went to my information session almost 8 months ago.
Yeah, I went to one of
Then they
those.
sent me an email and I signed up for my training for February 27th. So it's getting late because you got to go to the information meeting first,
Right.
and then you go to you don't just go to the training.
Right.
Right.
You got to show up first and put some skin in the game.
All right,
do
we'll
the
get the
application
flyers,
and
we'll get the flyers out right away.
Send it to me and I'll
Yeah.
Okay,
mail it out.
all right, Gloria.
All right, so Melissa DeRisca, part of what I do, I represent diversity, equity, inclusion for all of Harford County. Part of that, please, before you leave, fill this out. We don't exist in the system unless they can record that we're here. Okay. Outside of that, this Saturday, NAACP is having an MLK breakfast at, what's the college? Harford County Community College.
10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
I'm exhausted.
What's the
but-
cost?
Say it again.
What's the cost?
$60.
You're right.
Please, y'all live in Edgewood, join the Edgewood Facebook group. All this stuff goes out. And free things in the community, get with me after, tons of them for the kids. Yeah.
Speaker suggestion, a lot of healthcare, hospital care stuff keeps reoccurring. Possibly somebody from the state, maybe, somebody county, somebody speak.
Explain to us.
Somebody
State,
to talk about the
hospitals.
health, yeah. I'll see what-
Suggestion.
Maybe we can get the person that runs, Chesapeake.
Yeah.
All right, we'll work on something. Mary Ann?
The mixer donation for the high school,
and the sheriff, the deputy gave me the stats for last year, and I sent them to everybody already, you all have them. Last year there was 63 fatal overdoses or from heroin, 247 non-fatal. Of those, 53 were confirmed fatal from the overdose. 40 had used Narcan, 60 were repeat overdoses, and 11 had prior overdoses. So I've already emailed it to everyone.
Right, and then we'll send it
So
out
it
to
can get
everybody.
sent out, to Gloria has it. She
Yeah,
can
once
send it
Gloria
out.
gets something, we
Yeah, I'll
she
make
shoots
up
it
a
out to everybody, so. Ross, yes?
I was gonna put a plug in here, there is another cab that's your next door neighbor, the Abingdon, Emerton, Belcamp, Riverside, Perryman, cab, and we meet the second Thursday month, which is this Thursday, 6:30 p.m. at the, Abingdon Fire Company on Abingdon Road. If anybody's interested, and we have a guest speaker this week, it was gonna be, Mary,
Mary Chance?
no.
Mary Delaney?
Was it, who?
Mary Delaney James?
No.
No?
It was here a couple months ago, but anyway, she's going, taking something different. It's on, I should have put the thing.
Anyway, Mary's gonna be.
We'll have another
Mary will be there.
If you wanna come and see what's going on up there.
Hang on one second, just one at a time, so that we can finish up. Okay. You had-
I like the, with the closed session meeting for just us, no guest speakers. Also, I would like, when we do have that meeting, maybe we could actually put a volunteer list together of who wants to be on a planning committee for Edgewood Joppa.
Okay, we can do that.
To bring some exciting things here.
We can do that. All right, Mary, then you said.
Well, I would like to get a list together of all of our representatives, our elected officials, and invite them every month and see who comes every month. Before elections happen, you know.
Yeah, because we see them every 2
Yeah.
years.
So that we can get reports from them and know what they should do.
But isn't that kind of fair, cause right now
They
they're
are
in the
invited,
business.
you know, the elected, they're in session now, but when they're not, I have always asked for them to come.
They did pretty good, I think.
Well, some of them do.
Also, if anybody wants to learn how to live stream, I would love to have a backup for this in case I die. So, and on that note,
Meeting adjourned.
I was just
All
gonna
right.
say, if there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned. Yeah, please.